Hello, welcome to episode 18 of the Geno52 podcast. I'm your host Tom, and I'm here with my good buddy Stu. How you doing, Stu?
I'm good. Hello, everyone again.
Yeah, we're back again once again for another couple of hours of, as Chip described, bullshit. And more bullshit.
We describe it as bullshit as well, don't
we? We describe it as bullshit and bad hobby advice. It was described as bullshit and bullshit. So yeah, we're back once again like that. It just won't go away. I'll probably go to the doctors one day about that, but not for now. But yeah, so what have we got coming up on the show today then? We're actually recording this on the 4th of August, so this is the Friday the week before the open day. So we're going to go up to the open day next Sunday on the 12th, so we're going to shoehorn in a nice section recorded in the car. We know you love our car cast, so we're going to shoehorn in the Forgeworld open day news in there and hopefully get the show out same day, or are you going to day after?
It depends. Depends what look I get from the wife when I return on a Sunday evening from being at Warhammer World all day. If it's a kind of I
don't give a shit anymore.
I don't care that you got your laptop there and you're not talking to me. Then it'll go up that night. Otherwise, it might be the next day, but it will be up the next day.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get the news out for you pretty quickly from there. We're going to have Sam on from Empress Path, chatting about Empress Path.
We will have him on.
Well, you say that.
We've got to record him next week.
I've got the lead. We've not fucking tried it. We've been sat in the moth dungeon for an hour and a half, and we still haven't even managed to try the leads.
If the leads don't work, we'll record him old style using the laptop.
It may well be back on the old
You'll be able
Skype,
to tell by the sound quality. If it sounds like the older shows, you'll know that we've had to revert
we still haven't fucking worked it out.
And the carcast bit won't be quite as smooth as this because we will be field recording, so you'll have to forgive that.
We might have some special guests in the car, don't we? We may well have. So,
well, Kurt will be. I'm travelling up with Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt will be with us.
You're already up in Derbyshire, aren't you? On holiday with the family.
Yeah, I'm actually on. It's the second day of my summer holiday, and I'm not quite sure how I swung it. There was, I think I pulled a blinding argument of, well, we're going on a holiday, love. We're up in Derby where your parents are. We're going to spend 7 days doing what you and the kid want to do. This is the only thing I want to do on the holiday. And I somehow guilt-tripped her into letting me come to the open day. So I managed to blag a pass to the open day. So I'm going to come across from Derby and meet you in Nottingham and meet
Don't
you
meet
in
us in Manchester. We won't.
Yeah, if I'm in Manchester, we're fucked. We're really fucked.
So Kurt will be. Kurt and I are travelling up together, so he will be there because otherwise you'll just be sitting around outside the car waiting for us to finish.
I might actually make him do that.
Hopefully it's raining. We'll lock the doors and we'll sit in there recording.
But we might round up some other.
No, don't do that because I reckon he'll probably drive rather than me, and I'll be stranded in Nottingham.
Oh, you come on holiday with me for a week then?
Yeah, I'm not coming home, love. I've gone to Derby.
I've gone on a holiday for a week. So we might round up some other ruffians. There's plenty of people up there that faces and familiar voices.
Yeah.
So we might see if we can catch up there and have some chats with people. I might even abduct some Forgeworld members and hold them in the boot of my car. Find out
if only there was
somewhere
we could plug in at Forgeworld and they wouldn't kick us out. We'd record inside somewhere.
I tell you what, I'll take my petrol Jenny into Bugman's and we'll just fire up the petrol generator, plug in, fucking diesel engine running. Chugga. It won't smell any worse than Bugman's normally does.
If we could plug in properly, we could take the proper desk, couldn't we?
Hey, do you know what? I reckon if we had the balls to just sit down in the middle with a desk and be like, we're here.
I don't reckon they'd say anything, but it's finding a plug and
it's behind the bar. All right, mate, hang on a sec. I've got my extension lead. Fucking whack it up. Unplug the
beer fridge.
Fucking in we go. We're on. Yeah, we make a name for ourselves.
Certainly would, yeah.
So we got some Forgeworld open day. We got Sam coming up, and then we're going to go into our usual bullshit and bad hobby advice section. So we're going to talk some hobby. We're going to talk painting secrets and reliable guides. So can you believe the shit that people say? And if it comes out of my mouth, no, you fucking can't. So that's that section covered. Cool. So let's roll into our usual intro shit then, shall we?
Yeah. So what have you been up to then, Tom?
Fucking terrain. Literally, I might as well have put my penis in this MDF
so
terrain.
You have been fucking
I've
terrain.
literally fucking terrain. Now, I can see the end of the ZM tables. The extra bits we ordered for the tables at Incom arrived. So I've built all of them. I'm down to the last pile of the last walls, the last section. I actually delivered the second complete table to you.
You have two big boxes underneath the table here, ready for and some paint.
I am taking a whole box of scenery away from you as well. So the rolling runs that. Been building loads of terrain. I painted all my Shadow Walls Armageddon stuff.
Yep.
Finally got all that stuff done. I've got obsessed with my future metal, my Grim Industrial future metal system. I have gone through 2 bottles of decayed metal in the last 2 months.
I think I'm close to that myself.
Everything just goes decayed metal, sponge lead belcher, sponge silver. The thing is, I've got a burnt umber wash mixed up, just a massive vat of burnt umber wash, and you just goes over that decayed metal with silver, and it just ties the whole thing together absolutely perfectly. It makes me look like so much better of a painter than I actually am. I've literally airbrushed it silver, decayed metal, and then with a sponge, so I've got some cut-out bits from my X-Wing KR case, literally just ripped a chunk of that, dipped it in lead belcher, been through a whole pot of lead belcher this week as well, and just sponged the fuck on it, and it's like, it's like kids' creative arts here. Bit of sponging, bit of spraying, bit of sponging, slather it in fucking wash.
It's nice, isn't it? It's quite liberal and free when you're painting stuff like that. After spending time kind of frowning with a naught brush on some lenses of a marine helmet, it's nice
layering
to just kind of go in and
facial tones.
Yeah, oh god.
Just getting rough and ready.
That's why I think I always do scenery quick, and that's why I'm looking forward to one day actually saying, right, I've got armies painted at the moment. I don't have any armies I want to do, and spend some time properly to do something at a high standard.
There's a real joy in doing
terrain. As soon
terrain.
as I do terrain, it's kind of like, well, I'm going to do this quick because it's a big area and I ain't got time to fuck around.
I haven't got time to fuck about a bit. There's a real joy to painting like that. Like you said, like I'm doing my Goblin team, which are real small, really highly
small
detailed
models,
miniatures. I'm painting the Mechanicum stuff, which is all really fiddly detailed stuff, and I just being able to just like blast out some terrain and work on a much bigger section. I've got the galvanic servo hauler crane things. They're fucking amazing, absolutely brilliant. Such cool models. I've just blasted this stuff out, and you feel like you're getting somewhere very quickly. I feel like I've done a lot very quickly. I've got all that Shadow War stuff painted, and I painted the Fortress of Redemption. I painted
that looks awesome.
Painted some bits for ZM, the big gun platforms from TT Combat. So I feel like I've achieved a lot. There's still a Warhound Titan that hasn't come out of the box yet, but
well, that box of knights that's still in the same place by your right foot.
I know, it's just getting up. I've set myself with the Warhound is get the terrain painted because I've got to get that done for September, which is 5 weeks out from recording. So that's fine. I'm pretty much done with that. That should give me September and most of October to paint the Warhound, which should be more than enough.
I'm on the
time.
same thought process. It's about priorities at the moment and what comes first.
Getting tasks sorted, then I can, because what I don't want to do is try and like half-ass the Titan while I'm trying to do other things. So I'm painting my Mechanicum army, and I don't know if I'm going to get them done for October for Ruination. I'm going to try and get them done for November for Blood and Glory, but because I've got the Ultramarines, I'm not prepared to rush the Mechanicum. No, I can take the Ultramarines out. I can go and buy old models for that and keep the army fresh, so the Mechanicum can be right. So I'm not, going to rush those. So they have taken a little back burner because I'm not going to rush and try and fit them in. I want to get, the terrain is my priority at the moment, and then the Warhound. I've still got to pin the fucking hip joint there. That's going to be a pain in the dick hole. I've got to put 2 pins through the right hip joint. So I've got to find a really long 3mm drill bit to go all the way through the hip because it's got to go through the ball and socket joint and into the hip because the ball and socket joint's already glued in and it's suctioned in, so I can't get the leg off to drill into the ball and then out because the pistons are already on. Right. And so I'm going to have a real good look at it. I might be able to cut it and get the ball joint out to make life easier, but it could be a real pain.
Is it wobbly at the moment then, is it?
Well, all that was holding because it's a ball and socket, I'm doing some really good hand gestures here to show Stu that you're all going to be able to see. The only thing's, there's 4 or 5 pistons around it. Yeah. From what I can see, the pistons were the only thing holding that joint in place. So the pistons have snapped where they join onto it. Right. So it now freely rotates in the socket. Okay. So it's not broken, it's just freely... So when the weight of the Warhound's on it, the leg slips. So my options either were build a base and hold it in place, but I really don't like Titans on bases. I don't know, it's just me. I don't feel they
get too big and they...
Or if you're going to do a base, you've got to do a really proper base for it, because it's a big piece then, and it should be a real...
It's just going to take too much space on the table.
Exactly.
I think if you're doing 75% coverage of your table, like we want to be doing for Good Games of Heresy, how are you going to work that when you've got a foot foot square base to stick it on.
So I'm gonna reinforce the hip joint.
Yeah.
So that it'll hold like that. So it'll hold the body up. So that's
so he's kind of flops around like he's got a dead leg at the moment, kind of thing.
Yeah, he's just you put him. The legs stand as they are, but as soon as you put the head on it, the top on it, the weight pushes down through the joint, and the leg just does a split.
He's floppy like an old action man.
Yeah, he's flopping around like a pensioner's penis.
There's an old action man behind me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Cricketer.
I said pensioner's penis, and you reached behind you. I was really fucking worried.
Got
for
one
a
of those
second.
as well.
So yeah, what else have I been doing? Fuck all, really. I've been playing a few games, playing a lot of Blood Bowl. No, we don't really want to talk about Blood Bowl, but it's fucking great. It's actually a great step out for me from Eris. It's a totally different thing, but yeah, what have I been doing? That's about it, really. Terrain. Again, it's only a couple of weeks since we last recorded again, isn't it? So
we still done quite a lot in between, but yeah, it's...
Well, you do fuck tons, but
yeah, but I mean, in terms
I admit, I've taken my foot off the gas a little bit the last week or two. I'm not getting a burnout, but I was just like, I need to do some other things every now and again for a bit, I just needed to step away from the painting. But then I was thinking about it, it's like, well, I've still done 2 hours of painting today.
Yeah.
And
maybe it's a realisation that you're not going to get that army done for Ruination.
Yeah, the punch needs to... the pressure's come off, which is good because I'm not making mistakes with the army.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean... Overspraying onto your nice white capes, you mean?
Fucking hell, yeah. I was spraying that fucking terrain, and I oversprayed over the back with the airbrush because I was rushing. Rushing's the fucking worst for me. I rush stuff and I make mistakes. I've looked at them again now. I put them to the side for like a week and didn't even look at them. It won't be too bad by the time I've added some dirt wash on it.
Yeah.
And finish the rest of the model. It's fine. It's a bit speckly. Some great. If you get up close.
Yeah.
You might spot them, but
you just might have to be a bit more deliberate with a few specks with the brush before you do any normal sort of sponge. Yeah. So just cover over those marks and use those as the guidelines. Yeah. So I think you'd be fine. The picture you sent me,
it's quite
I looked at it and thought, because we've already talked about where you were going to weather the capes anyway, with a bit of dirt coming up. I thought, well, if you just weather in the places where the overspray is, and we're talking about a few speckles, aren't we? We're not talking about.
It's just one of those pissed.
I
was more pissed off because I was rushing and it. All I need to do is pick models up and put them out over the side, and they've been fine. But I've rejigged my one of the big things. I rejigged my hobby desk, so I've got 3 desks basically in an L shape, and I've got my main big desk under my skylight, which has got everything on, and I used to have a little desk to the left that comes back on an L, and I had my light box in it. Yeah. And that took up a whole desk just having the light box sat there, and then I got another desk with my printer and stuff on and computer for everything else on it. I sat there and I was like, and I made that overspray, and I thought, I've got so much stuff rammed onto this one desk, and I looked at the side and I was like, that entire desk just sits there to hold a light box. It's great for photographing, but actually it's not in the best place for photographing because the big natural light is to the right of it.
Is it a pop-up light box?
Yeah. So I folded it. It literally folds down into like a portfolio case.
I've got it
under the desk and was like, right, okay. So I moved a lot of the redundant, like my GW paints and stuff that I don't instantly reach for all the time, went over there. That allowed me to get my little ventilator back out from the back of the desk for airbrushing in. Yeah. And it can slide back now and now I've got to the left of me all my spare surplus, the stuff I don't reach for all the time, and all the models that I'm sort of working on but are on the side, not the thing I'm working on at that time. So they're all nice and safe to the side now. And I've got a much bigger painting space, a much nicer space.
I've got shelves above my desk where I just put half-done models on.
And that's what I'm lacking. I've actually...
And I use the gaming space as well. I turn it into...
You haven't seen my shelf of shame, though, have you? Which is nearly... So I'm in the shed. I mean, what's the shed? It's 12 foot?
12 or 10.
So I reckon it's 3 panels... Probably 2 panels long of yours. So what's that? 6 foot long. Yeah. I've got a 6 foot long shelf piled with models that are either... half painted, stripped, semi-assembled. I mean, there's a Vindicator on there that's painted red that was going to be Blood Angels. I keep going, I'm going to make that an Ultramarines one. And I've lost 2 other tiny track link sections. I'm like, all I got to do is buy some tracks from Extra Armour and it'll be fine. I can't fucking get around to it. I've got Chaplain from Blood Angels Chaplain that's built in Prime Black. I've got Imperial Guardsmen that were going to become characters for ZM missions.
Is that a fine cast, Blood Angels Chaplain?
No, it's the new plastic one.
It's the plastic one.
You know, the modern one with the big sweepy arm. I think I've offered him to you.
Yeah, I might be tempted to have that off you. To cut it up for. I need to.
He's fully assembled.
If I can cut his legs off,
Yeah.
and stick some Mark 4 legs on or something, it might be.
I owe you those.
Discussion probably not for the podcast.
I owe you those assault cannons as well, don't I? So
Oh,
they
you
give you
saw-
them.
oh, I
Yeah,
forgot
they're
about
just out on the shelf. Forgot to bring them.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Not like I'm going to be building those blood angels.
No, but they're sat
until October.
they're sat on
anyway,
my
but-
shelf for fucking shame. And I look, and the thing is, because I'm sat at chair height, and it's fitted at just about my head height standing up, so about 6 foot in the air. When I'm sitting, you can't see on the shelf, so they're completely fucking forgotten about. It is a proper shelf of shame.
Mine go in the cupboard out the way, the door
cupboard of
shut.
shame. I just sit there and like, I always think I'm a really good hobbyist. I don't buy too much stuff. I don't have that much stuff, like piled up and stuff. And then I stand up and look at it and go, oh no, I'm a fucking idiot. I've got fuck tons of stuff up there. I've got 40k Ultramarines that built with grav cannons.
Yeah.
I sold all my 40k stuff and didn't sell them because they weren't in. What the fuck am I going to do with them? They're literally grey plastic. What the fuck am I going to do with these now? So I just literally, I don't know. I just
do some more eBay. You hate eBay though, don't you?
But it's like 2 models.
Yeah.
I just fuck it. They sit on the shelf.
Use them for test models.
Yeah, I'll do some shit like that with them. But yeah, that's me really. I've been building fucking terrain everywhere and painting. So what have you been doing then, Stuart?
Well, luckily for the listeners, I've been doing something. No, I haven't. I've been building terrain as well.
Hey!
So I finished painting the Game Mat EU stuff we talked about last episode. That was all.
It's gonna be a rare thing that because you painted it in your scheme. They've stopped doing the unpainted stuff now.
There'll be a few people to repaint them as well. But
we should be one of a rare set now.
So they were pretty much done anyway. But I oil washed them and added some snow flock. I'm not in the other group yet, but didn't post the first lot in the Geno group. Only went in the Tarsus group. Yeah. But I'm sure, they'll look better when Chip's put them on the snow mat.
Yeah,
they've got some snow flocks and stuff, so they'll need to go on a snow mat before we take a picture of them properly. But we'll share them all. So that's done. I bought the one remaining building I needed to do for my industrial kind of table that I have, and that's going to be used at Tarsus. So it's a Shrine of Aquila building, is it?
No. It's something else.
It is something of the Aquila.
The big one with the big cock head sticking out.
Yeah, the taller building anyway, the one with the bigger panels. So it needed a bit of height, so I did that in about 90 minutes. Built it in about an hour watching telly, and painted in about 90 minutes. And I needed it to finish the table off, and that with the other table we talked about a couple of weeks ago. That's 2 of my own tables finished, ready to take to Tarsus. As I say, you've delivered all the ZM stuff, so that's going to be my homework in between commissions and other stuff this next sort of 2 weeks or so, just when it's not raining outside in the beautiful British summer that we're having in August, take them outside, spray a panel at a time, get them going.
Yeah. He's trying to the Aquila. I just furiously smashing them away onto Games Workshop. Yeah, trying to the Aquila building.
Work-wise, I've had some Heresy stuff, which is nice. After a couple of weeks of Walking Dead and stuff like that, I've had a Sakar and Battle Tank, 2 Rhinos. They were in Iron Warriors.
Yeah.
They were for Jason White. I know he's a listener, so Jason, hello. And then I did a Perturabo as well. Pictures all went up at the same time, so people will think they're all the same client. They're not. That was for someone called Nick, who asked me for the link for the show the other day, so he might be listening now. If you are listening, Nick, sorry. We're not worth listening to.
Did you get a nice shadow under Perturabo's tubby belly for him? So he's got a nice little shadow underneath that little belly of him.
Oh, he's a lovely model though. Really enjoyed it.
To be fair, if you've been on our Instagram, you've seen the pictures up there and stuff. It is a real nice job.
Some weeks are good weeks at work, and that was a good week.
Yeah.
Painting Heresy stuff, painting tanks. I love painting tanks, and then Primarchs.
Problem is, you tend to smash them out quick, and then you're like, yeah, I've had a really good week at work, and now I've got to get back on the shit stuff quicker.
Well, it's not shit, but it's just that kind of. I've got.
You're passionate about painting.
I've got a good 2-3 weeks of just inventory models. It's like 3 Blood Bowl teams with all the star players and stuff. Lovely models, but there's nothing.
When you've knocked them out 3 or 4 times, it's quite.
It's harder work. And then I've got some more Walking Dead stuff, and they were fun to paint. And there's not too many I've got, but that's what I've got coming up the next few weeks. And then the nights, so I've got that planned in. As it stands, I've got a 3 weeks work. I've basically moved all my work around so that I've got a week where I've got no work.
Yeah.
So I'm basically taking a week off work to do it.
To smash them out.
Now, hopefully, I'll get all the work done in time.
Yeah.
Because if not, that might not happen like that. I've still got time though. That's the thing. I've got plenty of time. It's going to happen.
We were talking earlier, weren't we? So, we've both got a similar plan. So September for the both of us.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be pulling my hair out with Tarsus. I don't want to be concentrating on too much. So one model to focus on will suit me.
When I was doing
quite.
a little bit of everything, and at some point you just need to kind of to stop that mountain of work looking unachievable. Is to finish a few jobs.
Yeah, start pulling
Get
a few
them out
of
of the
these
way.
bits.
So by getting that game mat train done, it's done.
Yeah.
And I know now that I've got to finish your ZM, and I did a bit the other day,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do a bit Monday. That's my plan. I'm going to do a bit Monday.
Yeah.
If I get it finished, again, it's another kind of
Tick done.
another weight off the pressure.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a lump you've had since February.
Yeah, it is. And then I'm going to the MDF.
Still my favourite thing of this year is I gave you that ZM terrain going, Stu, I ain't going to have time to sit down and do this. I'm too busy. I ain't going to have time to do it. I gave you that, and then I've spent the last 6 months building 4 ZM tables.
Thing is, you didn't give it to me in February, did you? That
No,
was
it
the
did take me a
problem.
little
That
bit.
was when I had the time to do it. But
I thought I got it.
it was like the end. It was like the last couple of days. It was
It
March.
was still February. It was still February. I didn't say when in February.
You missed.
I think I did. I missed the slot.
Yeah.
And then you've had to be fair, you've had a fucking busy year with.
Well, I'm
the
very
studio.
booked up at the moment.
Yeah. We were talking earlier, weren't you? November now.
Yeah, my next official slot is like the 13th of Monday, the 13th of November. I can squeeze small things, but
Yeah.
for kind of bigger chunks and bigger
anything that's a
finishes,
week or two's work. Yeah.
It's going really well. I'm going
Yeah.
to be doing probably as things
you
go well.
fucker,
I'm
you haven't
going to
been building my ZM train because you've been too busy earning
too
money.
busy, but I'm going to be doing some more. I'm going to be doing more hours. So officially I do about 30 hours, but I won't quite go full time. But I'm going to start taking on some more hours. It might not be this year. It might be January, but the son is going to go into nursery for an extra day each week, so I can paint even more of people's models, which is cool.
Yeah,
So
it's all good.
But yeah, that's it because we've seem to be recording quite a lot. This is new kit, isn't it? It's more fun, so we kind of want to record a bit more.
We got like holidays in August. There's the open day. We looked at, like I said, we've always said we're not going to, we sort of said minimum of once a month for the show, and that's what we try and put out for everybody is one a month.
Well, this is show 18.
Yeah.
So we haven't, this is show 18 in our 12th month of recording.
Yeah.
So we have done 1.5 episodes
a month.
But
we just said, we're trying to, if there's something worth recording for, so we got the open day. So we sat down and looked at our schedules for it, and it's like shit.
Well, you were away.
Both of us in August. It's going to tie up that we're not around about. We're like, well, we need to cover the open day. So we do the open day.
Or we'd be doing it 2 weeks
with the news,
after you got back, and the news will be old anyway. Whereas this should go out on the day of it or the day after. So for you guys outside the UK, and that's probably 60% of our listeners. Looking at the depending on how the date is true, but there's definitely slightly more people in the US than the UK.
Yeah, but I think the problem is there's slightly more people in the US than the UK in
there's
general.
A few more, just a couple. What are you on about?
I think as a percentage of the population, we're still doing better in the UK.
Oh yeah, but I mean, in terms of there's a lot of listeners who listen to us from outside the UK who won't go to those events, won't get the chance to. So that information is yes, you'll see it all. You'll see it on Facebook and stuff. You'll see the stuff from Garrow, but in terms of some actual live chatter about it and some
excitement
thoughts,
of being there.
Yeah, you'll get from us fairly short. Not enough. We want to. That's the plan. It could all go wrong yet, but that's the plan. Is that we record quickly, and I'll try and get the show out to you so that you commute and the day after or something can listen about it fairly close after the event. But that was that really. So what else have we got to cover in this wonderfully incoherent opening section of the show?
I don't think there's. What's new? I was just about to say, should we not bother with what's new? But there is something I want to mention.
There is one thing. It was released today, wasn't it? As recorded.
The new Sicker variant. Where's the Forgeworld fucking page? What's it called? It's the one with the looks like the Scorpius turret on the top.
Yep. The bigger Scorpius
Legion's Arcus strike tank. Fuck, it looks good. That Blood Angel scheme. I mean,
well, I told you it's clearly Blood Angels only, and as I'm doing a Blood Angels army later this year, I'm having one. You're not allowed one.
because it's painted in the Forgeworld scheme. That is sexy stuff. That deep red and the gold and the transfers on it. They look.
It's a really nice job, and it's different. It's different to the previous style.
Yeah,
so we've had Matt's style for quite a while, haven't we? Kind of that it's slowly
this is the
changing.
European style now, isn't
It's different. Well, it's what's his name? Giuseppe. What's his surname? I got his butchering Spanish. I'm assuming names. I think he said it's his first tank he ever painted as well. So he's done quite a good job. So those of you out there who think it's too hard to paint things, give it a go.
I don't think it's the first tank he's ever painted.
No, I think it is.
Really?
I think he said it on Facebook.
It's his
Giuseppe Schiafelli or something like that. So apology, he won't be listening. But he won't be listening at all. But I like it. It's a different style. The weathering and stuff is limited. I think that works with the Blood Angel scheme he's gone for anyway. I know I'll be doing a more of a weathered, less blingy Blood Angels when I do them. Or the bling will be there, but it will be battle beaten. But I really like it. It's a nice paint scheme, and the rules really versatile, isn't it?
I fucking love it. I'm just loading them up.
It seems to be a missile for all occasions.
So it's it's the Relic Sicaran Arcus Strike Tank. It's power level 15. It's got a weapon skill of 6. It's a strength 6, toughness 7, 14 wounds. She's giving real fun.
Which rules have you got up?
The 40k rules.
I was going to say power level 15. I was like, you're not the one that's been reading 40k.
Thing is, actually, the 40k one, it actually is screwed because it only gets one type of missile.
Oh.
Let's get the proper rules out.
Well, it's a simple game, isn't
it? Simple game for
simple people.
The local game for local people.
I've not got blue plastic Primaris Marines sitting next to me on the table. So.
No, so it's 205 points base, ballistic skill 4, Sicaran chassis, so 13, 12, 12, 3 hull points. It's fast. It comes with the Arcus launcher, with Arcus warheads, but with 2 Ws. Good typo there. Heavy bolter, extra armor. Yeah, it's got the ripple fire special rule, which is what makes this thing. I was thinking about it. So I've been excited about this all day, and then I had a thought about it. So the one thing I don't like about the Punisher variant, is to get its special rules, you have to stop it moving. One of the great things about Sicaran chassis is it's fast. It can move 12 and keep going. So to get ripple fire. In a turn which the Sicaran Arcus doesn't move in both the movement phase and the shooting phase, the controlling player may choose to have the Arcus launcher fire twice in the shooting phase.
Yeah.
If you choose to fire the weapons twice, both attacks have to be at the same unit and use the same profile. So you get basically double the shots on it. Again, do you want your Sicaran parked up? But I think with this one, it's got better range and a better versatility that you might not be too bad with it. But yeah, the Arcus missile launcher comes with, it's got 4 different profiles for missiles. So it only comes with the Arcus missiles standard. I mean, when I say only, it's range 36, strength 8, AP 2, heavy 4, cluster warhead, and terminal tracking. So you stand still, that's 8, strength 8, AP 2 shots. Well, fuck your Terminators, fuck your Custos, fuck your vehicles.
Yeah.
You know, that's great. Because fuck your vehicles, because cluster warhead. Each time the weapon scores a penetrating hit, roll a D3 on the vehicle damage table and roll D3 times on the vehicle damage table and pick the highest.
Yeah,
so if that goes in at AP2, the chances of detonating something in one shot. Now, bear in mind, if you get 8 shots, hit with 4, hit with 5, say, pen with 3,
you're gonna
3 D3 rolls on it.
It's gonna go, isn't it?
Yeah, you're killing a tank a turn. You know, you're killing anything that isn't AV14 a turn, and you've got a damn good chance of putting, with 8 shots, putting a couple of glances and maybe the odd couple of glances on AV14. Terminal tracking is pretty cool. Successful jink and cover saves must be re-rolled. So the one thing a lot of people have mentioned is this will kill Special Ks and Dreadclaws dead.
Yeah.
Because you got 8 shots, even 4 shots, re-rolling the successful jink saves. You know, you're going to take that down. So that's pretty good. Now, you've got to pay for the other 3 missile types. So Sky Spear warheads are the first one at 15 points. I like these. I think these, for me, would be an auto on. So they're strength 7, AP 3, range 48, heavy 4, terminal tracking again, but with Skyfire and Interceptor.
It's giving you the range that you need to take on.
So I was
your anti-air option on top, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was discussing with Joe the Eaters of Whack. This against the Dorado. So Dorado's strength 7, AP 4.
Yeah.
With Sunder.
Yeah.
But it's limited range.
Yeah.
Of fire because it's a dreadnought. It's got 45 degrees from each arm.
Yeah.
The turret has got a 360 on this, so you get 360.
Yeah.
48-inch Skyfire and Interceptor. So one of the things you have to do with the Dorado is get it in the right position to sort of preempt where their flyers coming in to intercept with it. Plus, you've got to not move to get Skyfire and Interceptor.
Yeah.
So you're kind of pinned in place waiting for that flyer to come in. Well, this doesn't need that. You drive it forward, smash shots into something else. Oh, the flyer's coming on. Well, I'll just fucking fire at you then. And you can keep, you've got the mobility.
Really good, isn't it?
Now, you lose the Sunder, which is handy, but you've got terminal tracking, so you're re-rolling the Jinx. So I'm not sure. I'm not sold. I don't think it's an instant replacement for the Dorado, but I think in the list there's the options for a mixture, because it's 200.
Well, it's so versatile as it is anyway. If you want to take an offensive tank, and you might not, you might be able to have a list where you've mainly got, you might have a Spartan or something because it's taking your Death Star in it.
But bear in mind,
you want one other tank.
You got three heavy sport slots.
Yeah,
and you got a fight between those. You know, your Spartan, then your Dorado.
Most people, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you said,
I think the versatility,
the speed, the movement, and the fact that you can track. So then there's the Preax warheads. Now these I think are really subjective, because against you, these would be your worst nightmare, because they're strength 5, AP 4, heavy 2, large blast, ignores cover. Yeah. You know, I'm going to eat your solar orcs with that, because if I stand still, that's four large blast templates coming in on your.
Depends how you play the game. If you're if your
meta's
if it's an event and you've got a fixed list, then you might not go for it. If you're meta, or if you're playing against your mates and they always have that, and you want to you're setting up a game
regularly, and I know I'm playing your solar,
you're going to take the things that are best to do it, unless you find they're too bad and you take them off because you're also winning kind of stuff. But it makes sense. Depends how you play the game, but they wouldn't be an auto. I think the first two we just the first one is automatic, but the second one the second
one is probably to go up to 220 points to have that Skyfire and Interceptor. If I'm going to take this tank, I'm probably going to pay the 15 points.
Well, I don't think you'd take it and just have the standard, would you? You want the flexibility. Otherwise, it's not as good. I think
one of the things. It's multi-role. So the Pyrax are only 36-inch range as well, so it's a little shorter. The other one that's really subjective, and actually I would probably take to an event, is the Neutron Flux warheads, and these are what I've got Tim from iHorror shitting his pants about. Yeah, because they are only range 24, but you bear in mind you're on a 12-inch movement chassis, so that's effectively a 36-inch threat range. Yeah, strength 7, AP 4, heavy 4, terminal tracking again. And then they've got Neutron Flux. Now, Neutron Flux says this weapon gains the instant death special rule when targeting models with a cybernetic cortex. That's a fuck your robots missile, that. Yeah. So you got to get pretty close to them. So if you don't nuke them, it's fine. It's AP 4, so Thalax and stuff, it's going to nuke. Yeah. Castellax being a 3-up armor save, you got the chance of saving it. But you only got to get 2 or 3 of those through, especially if you can hold still and double that to 8 shots. Yeah. They don't make 4 saves. That's 4 dead Castellax. That's a fuck lot of robots down. That's 4 wounds each. So that's 8, 12, 16 wounds down in 4 shots. That's a lot of damage.
But again, is it like the previous missile? If you
depends on your meta.
If you play mech a lot, you're going to have that.
But if I was going to an event,
you might even pick up a second tank.
Yeah. But if I was going to an event, knowing that I'm probably going to face Mechanicum, every event I've been to, I face Mechanicum at some point, at least once. To be able to put my tank in and know that can do kill Terminators and heavy vehicles, medium armor, kill Terminators and medium armor, be my anti-air tank and my anti-robots, and cost me 205 base plus 15 for the Sky Spears, that's 220, plus 30 for the Neutrons, so that's 260. 260 for being a really good, solid, all-round tank.
I think it's great.
I think it's great. I mean, I've already told you
I'm a non-committal kind of person. I will sit on the fence, and this is a real fence sitter's tank. Because you kind of, I don't know what to take. I'll take this. It does a bit of everything.
Yeah, it does a bit of everything. It's great flexibility, And I said to you tonight, we're going at the open day, and it should be released at the open day, and I'm picking one up.
Well, there might be people at the moment that are having two slots taken up by things doing the role that this can do for both, and then you're freeing up some points to do some other things.
See, I could drop my Whirlwind Scorpius and my Dorado and put that into one slot, which gives me a heavy sports slot free again. Yeah. Because that's actually, like most heavy players, my 3 heavy sports slots are what gets filled up the quickest. I'd love to run a 10-man autocannon team. Yeah. But at the moment, with just having heavy sport teams, the heavy slots filled up, I'd be just like, well, there's no point. They're not great. Yeah. I want to run them because I think they fucking look cool. Those autocannons with Mark III armor look amazing.
How much is your Scorpius?
115. Scorpius is
the cheapness is the good thing.
The Scorpius is still better than this for killing power armor. Yeah, but it's not as versatile. Yeah, and it's on a weaker chassis. Yeah. The Scorpius is still fucking good. It really isn't a bad choice. But I can roll the Scorpius and my Dorado into one tank there. And. Scorpius 115, the Dorado's is over 200 points with the missiles, so that's 300 odd points in 2 units down to 200 into 1 unit. You know,
Yeah.
so I can. It's brilliant. I
love
think
it.
it's fucking.
I think I'll get one.
Yeah.
Not for a while, but it'll. I've got my 2000. I've got my first 2.5 for the Bloodlings sorted anyway. But I love this is more of a kind of a hobby love kind of thing. But I love the chassis anyway.
Chassis, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to paint. I really enjoy painting the one I did last week, and I sold my Venator with the fist I sold, so I miss it. I miss having it on the shelf, sort of thing. So I was going to get one
to
again
me,
anyway.
It's
and
what
I'll
the
get
Predator
this probably rather
like.
than the battle tank or something. This because this will be more
the
versatile
battle tank's
for
still
me.
great, but I think this is maybe a bit better than the battle tank.
Yeah,
maybe.
How much is the battle tank?
It's cheaper. It's
It is cheaper.
175.
175.
175. Yeah, I mean, with that, 260. Then you're gonna probably want to put. Would you bother with the las? Yeah, I'd probably put the las cannons. Probably put the heavy bolters on the side.
Yeah,
even if it's just for protecting the weapon destroyed.
Yeah,
and take.
Because there's a lot of.
Yeah.
Because it is a bit more expensive if you lose your weapon.
So you're up to nearly 300 points. I don't know. I'm not sold on it as like, oh my god, this is super OP. This is like, put these in the list every time. I love the model. I think it's great in the game. So I'm happy. For me, that's a win on both fronts. I'm not.
There will be some times when you spend nearly 300 points on it, and you lose it early because it's only got 3 whole points.
But it's going to draw a big target on its head. So,
which can be good. Be good.
How many fire shots did you get with your Sicaran ever? Your Venator?
That's
fired about 5 times ever.
It becomes a target, doesn't it?
And
if you come up against someone who's got a Venator themselves and another big target. And you don't know which to shoot because you don't know. I've got to take out their tank taking out thing, but I want to.
If I don't hit the Venator, I'm going to get killed by the Venator.
I need to take the super heavy, or I need to stop. I need to lock that super heavy.
Like one of our games, we ended up basically with the Venators parked in front of each other, shooting.
It's who wins first turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very, very often it's who's lucky enough to roll that first turn, and then the Venator. So they're good and fun. I can see people running squadrons of these almost there.
I know. Tom was talking about taking 3 in his Marascara because he was just like, they do fucking everything for me.
Well, that could be the strength.
Then actually,
it's taking multiple.
I got called out in the podcast chat for my cheese again earlier because I pointed out that I could take 3 and run Gilliman with them and give them all tank hunter as well.
Yeah,
and it's 24 strength 8 AP 2 cluster warhead tank hunting shots. And because they're not squadron, they're all firing at different things as well.
That could be.
That's a make no friends. That's a make no friends option.
Yeah. I think you'll see people running. I think you'll see a couple of options. You'll see the people running like I would, buy one and have some fun, and you'll see people doing that though.
I can't remember. I think it was Nicholas or it might have been Martin over at Don't Lose Your Head. They were talking about they'd love a Rite of War that was like Armoured Breakthrough, but only Sicarans. And now we've getting these other variants.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, the way to do it, you still have to take 2 Predators as your attack squads, as your troops. Just doing, you can take any Sicaran variant as your HQ tank.
Yeah.
You can take battle tanks as HQs. You can take Venators as elites.
It'd look awesome.
And then you can take the 3 other variants as your
having painted Freddy's
sport.
early in the year. The Sicaran looks such nice.
How good would that be? Like 8 Sicarans on the table. Just like as a massive armoured wedge, you'd be
incredible.
Like, fuck. So, yeah, like I said, most of the news hopefully is going to come in the next section, but I wanted to mention that because I've spent most of the morning yelling at people in the podcast chat about it, and a few of us blowing our loads on it. And I know JP wasn't too sold on the look of it and stuff, but, that's cool. It's not, nobody likes every model in the Heresy. But, yeah, I generally spent the morning blowing my load over it.
I think the paint job... as much as I like it, I think the fact that he's done gold on the domed part that holds the missile carrier itself, as well as I think it makes it look like 2 separate things. Whereas if that was red, but just the actual things were.
I'd like to say he's stolen my ideas by doing the black indent colour on the indent at the front there. Yeah, the 2 bits. He obviously saw my one with the white at the front there and went, "Oh, he's obviously a great painter. I'll do what he does." I am an award-winning painter now.
It's a nice job. He's done a good job.
He's done a beautiful job on it.
It'd be nice to see what. I'd love to know what methods he used, because it's slightly different. He's obviously used the airbrush, but if he's not new to painting tanks, this guy is.
If you're going to paint a tank nowadays,
you'd hope so. But he's clearly not the normal style. He's more of an individual. From what I've seen of his work, it's more kind of high-end individual single miniature kind of stuff.
Rather
And
than
this is
army
very
painting.
this is very different. But obviously Forgeworld's taken on new painters recently, so I'd be really interested to hear about the processes he used and whether it differs from any of the kind of lot
I'd
of
be
standard
interested to
things.
see if they're going to do another Horus Heresy model masterclass book with these new painters. Whether they do
Yeah,
it, because it would have a
be
different
interesting.
style to it.
It'd be. I'd love to know how much that they've taken what they know in terms of real high-level fine art
Yeah.
painting of models,
Yeah.
and then they go and speak to the Phil.
Yeah.
He's talking about his kind of military modelling
Yeah.
style, terrain build, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and
Batch
how much
painting.
they've kind of gone. Okay. Oh, their skills I've not
yeah, I
done.
can
I've
take
heard
this
about. I've
into
not
it.
done that before, and whether they've mixed them or not. But yeah, I'd love to. Hopefully, if it's not too, it should be. We saw them at the open day, didn't we? But it,
Yeah, we'd
at
love to
Warhammer
collar
Fest,
them.
Sorry, but it was just too busy. Hopefully, at the open day, it's a little bit quieter.
We
which
might
it
be able to
normally is.
collar them.
I'd love to grab them and have a little.
I'm sure when
Chat
we went
about
up
it.
last year, there were a lot of the studio painters who stood around.
They were behind the
talking about-
tables.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
just every time I stood near. There was someone talking to them for a very, very long
Yeah.
time, and you kind of waiting there.
What
to,
we'll
to
do, we'll
ask
get
them
our
a question.
podcast t-shirts on and just go, don't you know who we are?
They won't. They really won't.
No.
No, but I'm always conscious of wanting to talk to them and asking questions, but also the amount of people waiting behind that also want to ask questions. I feel like I'm hogging people's time a bit when there's people queuing, but that's just me being super polite and very, very British about that. But so, other than that.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any kind
we'll
of.
catch
So
up
we're
with
not
a lot
going
of
to
the
talk
news
about
the
new.
next time.
We don't do new releases that often anyway, unless it's something really excites us. But the news is all going to be because you'll have all. This is all very old to you guys listening to this because
Yeah.
that thing's been out for 3 weeks now.
Yeah,
But it's not. It's today for us. So
Should we
other
move on
than
to
that,
the listener messages?
well, are we going to do something before the listener
Oh,
messages?
fuck yeah, we probably should
We've got
do, shouldn't we?
something important to do, and I didn't get a hat. We need
Yeah,
a hat for this.
Fuck me, you're useless, aren't you?
I'm
Well,
not
I don't
really-
know, what do I have you?
I'm not really a hat person. Let me see if I can find
Sent
something.
to you a box of jumbo Space Marines.
So everyone wonders what we're doing now. So we're
What
doing
I'm doing
this.
is I'm
doing
getting
this old school.
I'm getting Stu's Trojan condom collection, and I'm putting pinholes in them all. Because what he really needs is another child in there. So, as you can hear, I am shaking a box of Primaris Reaver Marines full of little slips of paper with everybody who successfully answered the question to our last, not our last episode, the show before.
How many people got it wrong?
One.
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to name names, but there is a podcast that needs to check that. If you go and look on the answer feed,
Oh, did you get it wrong, or did you just get half the answer?
well,
right?
this thing, if you go and look on the answer thread, it was actually quite easy to answer the question because after about a day of it being up, the answer was on there,
Everyone put this. Well, if you
and there was only one person who put something slightly different, or more correctly, only put half of what everyone put. So I'm not going to name names, but a certain UK podcast from the north needs to go, and it's not actually Max for once because he didn't enter the lazy fucker. But right, we're going to draw the
Yep.
winner of the competition to win a scale 75 paint set,
yeah, it's the
palette.
gold set. A
Yeah.
palette.
Some brushes.
Three Rosemary & Co brushes. So 2, a 1, and a 0.
brush
Some,
cleaner,
Yep, some brush cleaner. Well,
and
there'll be some
some,
stickers and
space,
stuff.
and
but,
some space aids that we're going to cough into the box. So go on then, Stu, find us a name.
Ooh, there's 2 stuck together here.
Oh,
No, it's not.
No,
just
it's not. I
used
folded
double,
it in
you
four.
double
I
folded.
folded it in 4.
You're used to double bagging.
I'm always double bagging.
John Rhodes.
John Rhodes, well done, mate. Send us a message then. Shoot us a message on Facebook, Mr. Rhodes, and we will.
We'll search you and probably send you a
yeah,
message before.
if we haven't
if
heard-
you haven't,
if
if
we
you
haven't
haven't
heard-
heard from us, give us a shout.
Yeah, we'll send you a message. If we haven't heard from you by the time the show's gone out and stuff, I'll let Stu deal with that because I haven't got a fucking clue anymore.
I'll find it and message. I'll be posting it, so I'll
Yeah.
I'll send you a message and we'll get
We'll
that
sort out
stuff
getting it
sent
shipped
out
to you. Well done, nice. And
Hopefully you live somewhere we can't send paint. I might have to delay what's on the box.
Yeah,
if it's
we'll work something out if we get on there. But yeah, also thanks for everybody who shared the post and liked the post and answered the question. It was great, you know. It's great to see lots of people getting involved. We do like hearing from you, and it is nice to know that there is somebody at the other end of this listening to this crap. So
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be. Thank you again to everyone that got in touch for the last episode with questions for us.
yeah,
And we did realise the next day that we missed off about 4.
Yeah, I got drunk and forgot to check the Facebook page, the Facebook group for it.
There was a Facebook group as well. Yeah, we thought we hit all the things. But
anyway.
just apologies to those people who we didn't answer your questions.
Yeah, I think to be fair, most of the people who answered the question were just going to go, piss off from me. So no, right. Should we move on to? Should we do some listener questions then?
Yes.
Well, we only got one listener message. One listener message in, yeah.
I think we had a couple, but they weren't things for the show to read out as such. They wouldn't be.
No, it's just generally Peter Gill sending us titty pictures. So, those are the ones I get that I don't show Stu, but his mates seems to be mainly fat men's tits. I see. Anyway, yeah. So I got an email from George over at the Spacemen with Guns podcast. I mean, he must be desperate if he's writing to me because he wants some advice on his list. He wants
an illegal Ultramarines list. That's what.
Well, I'm going to hold him there because he's taking the title for this because he sent me an illegal Ultramarines list. So I got a nice message in from George. He said it's a 3,000 point list using Onslaught Force Org, so the additional heavy support choice, with Bobby G as Warlord. So he wants to run the Primarch. Him and his boyfriends are going to ride around in the Cestus Assault Ram, mainly because he likes the Cestus. He thinks it's cool, which is a fucking good reason to have anything. And then pretty much everything else was just basically a collection of what he got. But he also threw in a Delegatus as an HQ. So, my first feedback to him was you can't take a Delegatus with any other Lord of War. And this is actually something I've seen in a few lists now, actually, and actually in a list I wrote myself. So if you take a Delegatus, you can't take any other Lord of War.
That's the fluff, isn't it?
He's away from the Force.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people have been using him as a cheap Praetor stand-in.
Yeah.
Just to save some points. But no, you can't run a Lord of War with him.
He's acting up.
Yeah.
The manager's on holiday. He's been given the job.
Fuck yeah, party time! But they've taken all the big. They've taken all the big toys.
No one respects him.
They took all the keys to the big stuff
with
away.
the clipboard.
He gets the clipboard, but he doesn't get the key to the stock room. So I said to him, you can't run a Delegatus with Bobby G, so he'd either need to get rid of the Delegatus or Bobby G. And I thought, well, knowing George, he'd probably rather get rid of the Delegatus.
Well, I think he said he wanted his main thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the big
Bobby
thing.
G as a Warlord.
So I threw in. I said to him, so at the moment I'm enjoying running my Forge Lord with Bobby G. And comboing him with a chaplain. So when you're charging in, you're re-rolling hits, and everything's -1 toughness as well. So you're really fucking cheesing it up there. But it's a bit brutal, but that's a good combo. I'll tell you what, let's go through the rest of his list now then. Give you an idea of what he's got, so you can hear the feedback on it.
So is this what he? This is what he sent me, rather than you writing it for him.
Yeah. So here we are. So he sent me Delegatus. Then he got a chaplain. With the plasma pistol and a boarding shield, 10 TAC Marines in a Rhino with an auxiliary drive. Sarge has got Artificer arm and a combi weapon. He got the same thing again for a second HQ troops choice. He then got 5 Suzerain with 1 plasma pistol. Then 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts in a Talon, one with a multi-mounter, a close combat weapon with a heavy flamer and extra armour, the other with a twin-link culverin and extra armour of Volkite. 2 Apothecaries just with an Artificer armour. 4 Sky Slayer, Sky Hunters, jet bikes.
Oh, that's different. That's nice to see.
No, they're the standard ones. Just one might, mate. You're thinking of the Sky.
No, I just meant nice to see in a.
Oh yeah. No, I do like
yours,
the jet bike.
It was sounding very similar to a lot of what you ran. And I thought, oh, different.
Then he's got the Cestus.
You told him to drop them, though, didn't you?
No, I think I kept them in. I like them.
I'm only joking.
Cestus Assault Ram, Sicaran Battle Tank. Now, the Sicaran had everything on it. Had a Hunter Killer Missile, Auxiliary Drive, Armoured Ceramite, Sponsor Mounted, Las Cannons, and a Pintle Mounted Twin Link Bolter. Yeah. So then he got a squadron of Vindicators, one with a Laser Destroyer Array, Hunter Killer Missile, Auxiliary Drive, Extra Armour, Pintle Mounted Combi Bolter, and then a standard Vindy with the Demolisher Cannon with a Hunter Killer Missile, Auxiliary Drive, and Extra Armour. He then got 5 heavy support Marines with Volkite Culverins, and then he got Gilliman. Right. So he got quite a lot in there. So after telling him get rid of the Delegatus, I then said drop the auxiliary drives on the Rhinos and get Dozer Blades.
Did you say make your tax vets?
Make your tax vets. I think I did it. No, I think I didn't actually. But so the reason for getting rid of the auxiliary drives is you've been immobilised and then you roll to repair. Yeah. You've taken a whole point.
Yeah.
If you've got a Dozer Blade, you fail the dangerous terrain test and get to re-roll.
Yeah.
So you've got another 2 up to get through, and you haven't taken the whole point, so you're not as damaged. So it's right. It's It's like putting a condom on rather than getting an abortion. It's prevention rather than cure. So
condom's a theme in this episode. So
I've got
far,
it in my
hasn't
head for some reason. I don't know. We've been bumming furiously. That's the problem. Then I said get a power fist or at least a power weapon on the tac squad sergeants. Problem is you run into another 3-up armor squad and you've got nothing to punch through 3-up armor. What you get is Marines just standing there slapping each other, maybe knocking one out a turn.
Yeah.
And you just bog down and stop. If you've got 2 power fist attacks or 2 power sword attacks, you kill those 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You then win combat by 1 or 2. They fall back, sweep, and you can resolve that combat rather than just getting your scoring units bogged down in a fight that's just going to grind out for 2 turns. So I played Reese from Spartan Miniatures at Escalation. What won me the combat when my vets ran into his vets was I had a power fist. Yeah. So we had all our combat at I4 and did nothing, and then my power fist swung, hit him hit 3 times, killed 3. He lost combat by 3. I swept. I went through. So it was just that power fist. So it's worth getting that weapon on it, even if you just get one AP2 or AP3 weapon in, just to push through that combat and break the deadlock. So it keeps you going then.
Yeah.
I said split the contemptors into 2 talons.
Yeah.
Because it gives you more flexibility
in
deployment.
Yeah, definitely.
I said drop the extras on the Las Vindi. You just aren't going to get anything from them.
No.
Then I also said get rid of the Demolish Cannon Vindi and make it a Las Vindi. When you've dropped all the points, you get the points. Problem you've got with having 1 Demolisher and 1 Las in a squadron.
Well, yeah, they do different jobs, different roles, haven't they?
Yeah, and they've got to stay within 4 inches of each other.
Yeah.
So your Demolisher Cannon needs to be within 24, so it's going to be firing up the table.
One's not going to be doing anything, is it?
The Las Vindi wants to sit at the back. And I said, personally, the Las Vindi
you haven't got
in a
the
pair,
slots to split them, then there's no... Yeah.
Las Vindi is a pair. Now, I know he likes the Demolisher Vindi because I think that's the one Jamie from the Route
he's got
is paying over from. So you might do the opposite and drop the Las Vindi and get another...
Has he not got the slots? I'm not looking at this.
No, I don't think he has got the slots. You want to squadron it. So you drop the Las Vindi and have 2 Demolishers. You want those pairs to work together so they work. Then Lucy extras. Get an augury scanner on the heavy support squad because it gives you a 15-inch bubble of interceptor with
somewhere at the back,
with the Volkites. Yeah. A fucking great backfield deterrent. So I dropped my Dreadclaw in. Well, great. I've got intercepting 16 shots, 4 shots each, 5 guys intercepting at strength 6. It really makes people think about where they're going to deep strike, and that gives you your backline protection then. So that's the suggestions I made. So the list I wrote for him back was so I kept the chaplain. I gave him a refractor field instead of a combat shield. Yeah. So it's good having a combat shield in a unit because you get your defensive grenades, but you've got your suzerain which have already got the boarding shields. Yeah. So you don't need the boarding shield on the chaplain. So the boarding shield only gives you a 6-up invuln against shooting. Yeah. Whereas a refractor field gives you a 5-up in combat and a 5-up against shooting. So you get your better save there. And you don't need the bonus from the boarding shield because you've got the boarding shield
within
bonus.
So what is with that unit, it makes a difference.
So then I put my personal favourite at the moment, the Forgeworld in, gave him a bolt pistol and power fist, rag grenades, refractor field and a cyber familiar. Yeah. So I'm dropping to a 4-up invuln with a cyber familiar. Don't have to, but I had the points and... You've then got a 4-up invuln in there as well. You can maybe use him to tank a bit of...
I've got one with my Lord Marshal for the...
Yeah, it's really handy having that extra save. TAC Marines then, I dropped the auxiliary drives and gave him Dozer Blaze and I put a power fist on both the sergeants. Kept them exactly the same after that. Gave him the chainsaws and the Vexella as well. Because, extra attack and the amount of times the Vexellas saved my ass for not running away. Suzerain I left the same with the plasma pistol. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of the plasma pistol on him, but it's fine. It's just that's personal choice, and I know if George likes it, cool. There's no reason not to. It's mainly because I roll ones on Gets Hot and then melt my own guys with them, so it's just my shit dice rolls. Left the apothecaries exactly the same. I've just spotted a fucking great big flaw in that error. You can't put the... Oh no, yeah, you could put the apothecary in with Gilliman and you could put the apothecary in with the heavy sport. Yeah. You could probably lose the one with the heavy sport. It's not going to do that much. It's a lot of money to give them feel no pain. So yeah, maybe lose an apothecary. As I'm thinking on my feet here. Split the dreadnoughts up because you've got a spare elite slot, so have them out into because you can still deploy them together and run them together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it means that if you need to split them when you deploy them, you can.
There's no
I think
benefit,
I culled the extra armor off them as well, because you just don't need it. If you're stunned, you can't move. Great.
I used to do that all the time. Though. When I first started writing lists, it was literally kind
Extra armor.
of you just chuck. You think, it's protection. You chuck on everything you can.
All it means is that you keep moving and snap firing. I just don't find it that useful. So just claim that off. Left the jet bikes as they were. Left the cestas as it were. I cut the battle tank down to just the sponson and las cannons. You don't need armor ceramite on an armor 13 tank. Most people are going to be going around to the sides anyway. They're going to be getting a pen with a melter gun anyway.
Yeah.
You're not with 1 dice.
Yeah.
So there's no need. The armor ceramite's not going to help you.
They're quite small, aren't they? So it's not hard to get.
Armor ceramite under any. Mr. Kimmel taught me that lesson. If it's under AV14, you don't bother with armor ceramite on it. Then I got rid of all the extras on the Las Vindis and just ran 2 Las Vindis together. I do like them as a pair. That's enough for me. 3, I don't see the benefit in 3. I like 2. Yeah, the heavy support marines. I had to drop the Volkite on the sergeant to give him a Nuncio Vox and Chainsword, but 4 Volkite culverins is still good, and it's better to have the Interceptor as a backfield protection, and then left Gilliman in there.
Yeah, cool.
So that's what I did. Anything different you'd have thought of?
No, makes sense, to be honest with you. I mean, in terms of writing Ultramarines lists, you're going to be the one to answer those questions.
That was basically your answer, wasn't it? Is you might as well fucking write that
I
one.
didn't even bother opening the email. I saw it was about Ultramarines. I thought, I'll leave that to you.
Fuck those idiots. So George, feel free to tell me I'm shit and I'm an idiot, but, you've come to the guy who can't write legal lists to write you a list, but at least that should be pretty good.
There's some valid stuff in there, and a lot of it is the thought processes that we've gone through over the last sort of 18 months or so of having too much on everything, and then you're trimming points and realising the surplus stuff.
Yeah,
it's
the
too many weapon options. It's the armour ceramite and all those kind of things that you look at and go, you can trim that. You don't need that. You don't need this.
Things that just aren't going to...
all those contradictory things, like you said, the squadroning of something where they've got completely different uses of weapons. It makes sense when you're writing the list, when you've got
you want to get them in.
New toys and you're not using them much, but then once you really think about how they're going to work on the battlefield, it makes no sense.
If you wanted to get the 2 Vindis in there, you'd probably drop the heavy support squad and run the 2 Vindis. But I find the Demolisher Cannon Vindis, because you've got to get close, you're getting up close to stuff that can kill you, and you just end up getting killed with them. The Las Vindi's got you can sit back and fire, and it's got a lot more. That would be his major anti-armor. That is what's going to kill enemy Spartans and super heavies. Those two, they are going to do the work. Especially their ordnance. And you could be a real bastard and give them Interceptor with Gilliman, or you could be a real bastard and give them Tank Hunter. And really, if you knew you were coming up against a Mastodon or something, you give them Tank Hunter. So their ordnance rolling 2 dice, picking the highest. If you fuck it with both, you've got Tank Hunter to re-roll as well. So you're guaranteeing yourself hits, pens and glances then. So you can really up the power on them. So you could. So like I said earlier on my shelf of shame, I've got that Demolisher Vindi that I've gotten. I want to build it and paint it. I just can't find a use for it in the game at the moment. It's a good tank, but with Heresy, there's so much stuff being able to kill tanks. Piling a tank up the middle on it's essentially a Rhino chassis. It's going to get popped and killed before it does much. But
very true.
I'm happy to be proved wrong. So. Cool. I think before we go into a little break then, we don't do it too often, I'll just give us a quick rundown on the social medias, give them a shout out. So you can find us on Facebook, join our group on Facebook. There's some nice whips and stuff going in there. We tend to post a lot of crap in there. Stu started a huge flame war by posting a group about all the dickhead gamers you meet in there.
Have a look at that. There's
actually quite a good shout.
Is it 16 different types of gamer? And the kind of the bad habits of gamers. It's quite amusing.
I went through it and realised I'm all of those fuckers. So even the ones that contradict themselves. So come and join us on there. We got a good Instagram following. We're at Geno52 podcast on Instagram. We do post a lot of whips and stuff in there, don't we? We tend to share everything across, but there's a good little. It's quite a good little heresy Instagram scene. Actually, it's quite a good place for.
Very good
for it. Follow us on Twitter. That tends to be Stu's domain, really. Twitter is your thing.
It's the same stuff. We tend to duplicate a lot of it. So if you're on Twitter and you're not on the others, you can catch us there and interact with us there if you don't think we're posting much, because that is the one that gets kind of least love. It just seems like there's less of a heresy crowd on Twitter. Well, they haven't.
Facebook and Instagram seem to be the heresy scene a bit at the moment, but you can do that. Follow us on SoundCloud as well. We post all the shows on there to SoundCloud as well. We picked up a new follower the other day, and I actually went and checked it for the first time in months, so it's quite good over there.
There are
But I
bots.
think
The followers on there are mainly bots and
mainly
stuff.
porn bots. We're getting a lot of Instagram porn bots at the moment. Somebody posted on one of our comments, "Sick man" on Instagram. It's like, the fuck clicked on it. It was some kind of we organise sick parties, yo, and I was like, oh fuck me, that's a hell of a bot. So so that's all good. But if you want to support the show, we have got our t-shirt store. I'm going to go through that. We've said before, with Spreadshirt, we only get a small percentage of the money. It's fairly fixed on what they price, but if you want to drop us a few quid, that's great. If you don't want to buy a shirt or anything, we do have a donate button for PayPal. My hookers and cocaine fund is running rapidly dry in the build up to Tarsus, as I'm just binging trying to fucking deal with this shit.
Well, we just paid to pay our hosting now, aren't we? We're hitting our 1 year birthday.
Yeah, in fact, we were almost a year old. We didn't actually plan anything to do our 1 year birthday, because it was actually the open day last year when we decided to give this the go. Didn't it?
I think it was the 6th of August last year. We put our first show up. We actually uploaded it, but we'd been so it's nearly 1 year as we're recording it, and as you're hearing this, it'll over a year.
So donate on the PayPal button if you want to chuck us a couple of quid. Like I said, we don't everything we make gets pumped back into the show. It's gone to paying
our hosting, it's paying for the equipment that we've got. We're not making any money out of it. We're like every other podcast, we're making a loss.
We're happy to do it. We don't want to make money, but it'd be nice if we didn't have to find every bit of cash, and your help is appreciated. I mean, I know there's patrons out there and stuff now, and there's lots of stuff to support, so we don't expect
we haven't done anything like that yet. We're never going to say never, but we've got no plans.
I like Patreon, and I'm thinking of some ideas and stuff, but it's one of those things we've got to think.
We've got to make sure that we can commit to giving something that's decent as an extra for supporters.
And that's the big thing for us.
We'll sit on that for now, but it may be something we do in the future to help us out. Dice, we were talking about this today.
I've managed to get the Geno. Everyone who's coming to Tarsus is going to get some Geno dice, and there's some extras that me and Stu hoarded for ourselves. A lot of comments about, oh man, I'd love some of those. So if you'd like Geno dice, I'm happy to order some more and put them out to you guys. I'd want to make sure that I don't want to order a load and
we have to put the money up front.
So I'm not saying I want to pay up front, but if I get 20 people message me or 10 people message me saying let's do it,
definitely want some.
We'll
order enough.
We're talking we're talking like £5 plus postage for 5 dice.
Might be a bit.
It might be a bit more. It just depends when I get the quote in, because the order I've just done, I just ordered 400 dice for Tarsus and Incom.
More if you order a small amount.
So I'll have to balance it. But we're talking in the region of £5 to £10 for 5 dice plus shipping. We'll ship it around the world.
That will vary depending on where you are in the world. But
if it's the sort of thing you'd like, shoot us a message, leave us a comment on Facebook or something.
If we get enough interest, we'll do it.
I'll do it, and we'll get some dice in. Like I said, I mean, I might just order some anyway, because it's cool if we're at events to hand out. But if and the same, if 100 people come back and go, fuck yeah, I'll order a load more, and we'll put the money up, and
we'll set up a thing for you to order them,
and we'll sort it out. So cool, right? I think with that we'll roll out to a little break, and hopefully, barring any major disasters, will be. But the next thing up will be open day. But we'll catch up with you soon, guys.
Geno52 is sponsored by Incom Gaming, the new centre for tabletop wargaming in Gloucestershire. Visit incomgaming.co.uk for great savings on pre-orders and all your hobby needs. We stock many gaming systems and hobby accessories and can ship to anywhere in the UK. Incom Gaming is the only UK stockists of the market-leading gaming mats from gamemats.eu. Visit the store and check out how to turn your tabletop into a battlefield. Incom Gaming is based in the centre of Cheltenham and offers tables and scenery for casual and organised play with a fully licensed bar. Check out our events page for upcoming events where everyone is welcome. Save an additional 10% on Games Workshop Heresy products by using the code GENO52 at the checkout. Visit incomgaming.co.uk and help fight the betrayal. Incom Gaming. Come game, shop, drink. To shop elsewhere is heresy.
Welcome to the Sweat Dungeon. We've left the Moth Dungeon and we're now in the car at a very sweaty Warhammer world. The windows are actually open.
It's not sweaty in there.
Is this
No,
not
it's sweaty in
it's
here.
really nice and
Is
really
this,
nice and air
this
conditioned.
not moth dust then? What's this?
No, that's just. So yeah,
Sticky, don't touch it.
as you can hear, we're joined by a couple of guests in the back. We went around Warhammer World and we spoke to all the literate, well-speaking people, and then we found some dregs and we dragged them out. So we got Pete and we got Kurt in the back of the car as well, and I'm going to lock the doors and drive them off later. They don't know that, but yeah. So we've had a good poke round. It's 1:30 in the afternoon now. We've had a good poke round. I've been here since 10 to 9 in the morning. We bought all the stuff we can buy, and we've had a look around everything. So we thought we'd sit down and have a chat while all the bastards are eating everything out of Bugman's.
Yeah, it's a bit busy now in a moment.
It's a bit busy, but yeah, cool. I think the big thing is there's nothing major.
Yeah.
For Heresy, at least.
Yeah.
No.
But Heresy specific, there's nothing major other than what we knew was on the pre-release sheet anyway.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to come out of today is the frequently spoken news that they're looking to catch up.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing big to see today, but
So we've inferred from what we've heard that Book 8 is potentially 2019.
Yep.
We're not likely to see a book, so they're going to take the time while they're catching up with the writing to go through model ranges and get special characters out, get units out, get shoulder pad upgrades out, get all those kind of stuff.
Let's be clear, this is a rumour that Pete's heard, not that we've all had.
this is
we've
what
not
we're
all heard
inferring.
this, so it's not the talk of the whole event, I would say. So we need to be very careful with that.
Yeah,
Oh
agreed.
yeah, and it's also inferring from what we have heard what that means. We've heard that they're going to take some time to catch up, which says to us, well, book 8 is a way off because they're going to use that time.
Well, let's let Pete describe
well, I
how
think
the rumour got to him and see if that matches. But
Rob McFarlane was the sculptor who's currently doing the Space Wolf stuff, and I can elaborate on what he's talked about on that. If that's,
absolutely.
So I'm going to be biased talking about Space Wolves then. Great. Lock the doors, Tom. So there's a Varagear Terminator on display today. That's one of 5 that will be a whole kit, not an upgrade kit.
Whole resin set.
Whole resin set. There's Deathsworn are done, Artificer armoured, the works, the kind of death masks rather than full wolf skull helms is what I've been told, and they're going to be a full kit. Essentially, the wording was you're going to get an equal range of kits to the Thousand Suns got.
Yeah.
So there's a Praetor done as well. There's going to be, the rumour is 5 Grey Slayer upgrade kits that Rob said that he's looking at.
Wow.
And that's just because of the variety of weapons options and Forgeworld's marketing strategy of rather than giving you one useful kit, they'll find the 5 things you want and then put them in 5 kits.
One useful bit in 5 separate kits. So.
And priests will come on their way as well. Simon Egan's been talking about the fact that Dawn is nearly finished, 2 weeks away from being finished.
Wow.
2 weeks away from being finished.
Yeah.
So we're seeing Dawn at Christmas, aren't we?
I don't think we're seeing for the weekender. That's my humble opinion. That's not a rumour.
Well, they normally do a Primark at Christmas, don't they? We've had a few. Might be.
I don't know.
Keep being that there's probably going to be no big Heresy.
He's not got a lot of spirit for Christmas, Dawn, is he?
No,
he's a bit of a grumpy stuff.
Yeah, do you know what? The amount of Dawns
No,
we're
he's
going to see
not
with
coming
Christmas
down the
Santa
chimney. I've shut it.
I've built a fortress on top of it.
But,
What do you mean there's stuff going on in the basement I don't know about?
that kind of elaborated with the talk with Simon Egan about him saying that he's having, before he moves on to his next Primarch after Dawn, he's doing a character. Yeah. When asked if that's a character that already has rules, he went very red. So that's possibly he's going back and picking something up, is what I'm inferring from that.
Yeah.
Knowing that Rob McFarlane, has done Vile Redblade, because he's been talking about it quite openly today, including poses with desks and chairs. I don't think Vile Redblade's got the chair. I think it's.
I'm glad he's here with a steel chair!
I was just going back to the Space Wolves just being brawling dickheads again, isn't it? Yeah, it was mentioned by both of them that there is a catch-up period where the writers are obviously having to regroup a little bit and find their ground with
Make a plan
the
and
tragic loss of Alan, and build upon Alan's wealth of notes they've got, whereas before they would perhaps have got a boatload of written information. I mean, Rob, for example, was saying that once upon a time you'd be given essentially 4 pages of fluff that would never get printed. A set of rules that Alan had drafted out and say, right, make that unit, and you look at it, and he said his words, but you'd look at it and go, oh, this is a sculpting nightmare kind of thing. He's saying, whereas now they've got an opportunity that they're going to be playing catch up for a bit, and then they're going to be working more closely with the rules designers, so the sculptors and
they
rules
can change the process a little bit.
Exactly.
You mentioned a new rules writer earlier.
Correct. When I was talking to Will Hayes, a gentleman was introduced to him whose name I didn't catch, so I won't try and guess it, I'm afraid. But and he was introduced as this is the new writer joining the team for Heresy, And he was being introduced to everyone today. So there is a presumably a secondary writer to Neil.
Yeah, I think they announced Neil as the head heresy. They didn't make a big announcement about it. They called him that in the Warhammer community post. So I'm guessing, unless that's changed. But you need more than one writer, don't you?
Not that I want to belittle anyone by their age. I would say this gentleman's more junior.
Yeah.
But,
that's good.
Making assumptions.
Well, I think for the future,
why not?
It's succession planning, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And that's,
And let's face it, one of the things the Inferno was criticised for was the delays getting out, and one of the things it was implied was it's because Alan was trying to write the whole thing and made it too much. They're learning from that and saying, well, actually, we need more than one primary writer for this, because the expectation is now we're going to get a black book a year, and we really want a red book a year because we've got to renew red books and things. So there's a lot of writing to do, and testing and developing.
I pressed Rob on it a little bit because he was quite openly talking about the Space Wars projects that he can't show today that he's done, and said, look, well, when are we going to see previews? And he said he doesn't know, but he wouldn't be shocked if it isn't until the Weekender.
right.
So I think, and as we saw Thousand Suns en masse at the Weekender, I could see them doing the same with Space Wars, to be honest.
Especially if they haven't got book 8 there.
So if you think Space Wars are done, and let's work on that basis, they're not going to be out. Let's take that at rote. They won't be out to the Weekender for preview.
Yeah.
You've got a whole lot of releases between now and then.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? They're saying they're not going to show anything they're not releasing within 3 months.
Correct.
So if you say February's we're going to see the Wolf stuff, you got February, March, April for Wolves releases.
Yeah.
So we've got up till February now. So we've got nearly 6 months of stuff.
I think it's worth noting that a lot of things seen today that will be news to people are things like the Demos Rhino doors for chapter specific, as well as new front plates and Legion specific standard Rhino doors. Is that right?
Yeah, Mars pattern.
Yeah,
Rhino
Mars
doors.
pattern.
As well as Dimos.
So I could see. I'm again just speculation, but I could see a lot of that
Kind of
filling
stuff.
filling
I
that time.
imagine they're reasonably easy to design and turn out because you've got a standard. Well, that's the door. That's what the door looks like. Take
You've got a standard template to work from.
Yeah, take the embossed bit off of that. Stick a U on for the Ultramarines. Take that off. Put a skull on for the Iron Warriors. Take that off. Put a fist there for it's fairly easy to turn those through.
Exactly, and
They've taken on new sculptors, and maybe that's some of the things they're getting them to cut their teeth on as well.
Yeah.
And as you say, all those design styles are there. They're all mapped out already. They've all got. They've got.
Someone's certainly got an STC for it. Really, isn't it? It's funny that.
And they've got other releases coming out of specialist games this year. There's a big one we'll come on to in a moment, but maybe some of these guys have been drafted into helping out with that because it sounds like that they're forging ahead really quickly.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting is I was having a chat with a gentleman who works in the media team, and I'd prefer not to mention because he's a friend of mine.
Do not
probably doesn't narrow it down that much, but but he said that the whiteboard currently, which is the plan, is a year in advance. As in that's models that are being done. So there are models that are being done now
We won't see.
that
till
we
we
won't see for a year.
Christmas or
And Forgeworld have never
weekend
been
next
that
year.
far ahead before.
Okay.
They've never been that far thinking, was his words to me. We didn't elaborate on anything what it was, but I think that's an interesting change. I think really, regrettably, the death of Alan has probably given an opportunity within the company for a big rethink on
It's
how
been
they
a
do it.
catalyst for change.
Absolutely,
I think through
As
this.
sad as it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think generally, even without the passing out, through this year, I think last year Heresy exploded. They've taken this year, and I think they've restocked this. This is now not a small specialist
Niche
game.
expansion.
This is almost a game in its outright. I mean, which is coming with its own rule book, its own rule set now. It is almost you've got Sigmar, 40k, and Heresy as the 3 game systems now. So it's developing that way, and I think so. They've now said this is right because I imagine 40k and Sigmar are planned that far in advance as well. They're a year, 2 years in advance. Actually, 40k sprues that come out that were copyrighted 2 years before they're released. So then now Heresy is this year. They've got with Alan as well. They've taken this and gone right. Let's get this on board now. This needs to be a structured, proper product line with development issues, and we know where we're going with it.
We can't run it ad hoc anymore. It's got to be.
So hopefully 2018, 2019 we'll really see some good it's not that kind of guessing game of there might be a model at some point, we don't really know. It might be more, us on the outside of the company, we're probably still going to be a bit, well, I don't really know what's coming, but inside the company there'll be more of a long-term plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony Cottrell said that there was, the only conversation I've had with him today was a passing comment, and he said that there is a strive now that when they release a book, they want to release stuff with the book.
Yeah.
Rather than go, here's your book, you might get models in the next
Yeah,
couple of years.
well, Tyrant Siege Terminators, they're the crux, aren't they? You know, how long did Iron Warriors players wait for them, you know? And actually, it's damaged their sales of those, because a lot of people have gone, well, I'll buy Tyrant Siege Terminators, I've had my own for 2 or 3 years now, I've made my own, I've got 10 of them.
And they're not different enough that you feel the need to go. I wouldn't feel the need to go out.
Especially if you've done a nice job and you worked hard and you convert.
It's funny because that's exactly where I'm at with Space Force.
Yeah.
Is that literally, I'm going to do a fire up to the minute after that, the next thing on my desk is 10 Varriger Terminators that I've already sculpted and built.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, when they're done, I won't go out and spend. They'll have to be exceptional.
Yeah,
I need someone to replace them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Also wildly different in the way they look. That
Yeah.
you think actually mine don't really look like this new artwork and this new vision for them. It's interesting. I kind of, from a personal point of view, I really like the idea of them catching up. I think from a heresy community point of view, it will be sad if Book 8 is quite a way off, because I think it needs an injection of something. Well, hopefully this rule book will do that. And it'd be nice if there were some actual, more than they've said very clearly, is not going to be anything other than 7th with the 40k stripped
but then
out.
we
It's a shame that, because with some extra things added, could give the community the little bit of a kick it needs.
We could see some new red books next year, because you
just
don't have to write the
speculating
fluff on those. So the fluff is established. It's tweaking rules, especially with new writers coming on. You know, you got a new writer. Right, here's the Mechanicum book or the Crusade look. Give it a tweak. Go and give some feedback. Think of this. Let's tweak that. Well, it's a good way
of
to
rebalancing.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it out and get to cut your teeth writing rules for it. Is rebalancing an existing book.
This is entirely speculation. There's nothing behind this.
Yeah, this is well.
This
we're really
is just
into
me speculating. I could really see them going, okay, let's postpone the 8th book a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right, and let's put out another book like was it Conquest?
Yeah.
Where it was a non-famous event, and it allows them to push a load of models out.
I don't think the reason I would see that not happening is because they've announced what Book 8 is. You know, it would have to go, well, actually, sorry, we scrapped Book 8's plan, we're going that book now.
Yeah.
So I think that might, but, you know, we got 4 red books next, we got the rule book and 4 red books next year.
Do we need red books for everything though?
Maybe not the legions.
With so few legions left, wouldn't you rather see
that
you might not see all done with one more red book?
I could see Mechanicum.
You can see
Mechanicum and Crusade.
Yeah, Mechanicum and Humans getting their update. You get 2 new red books next year because the Legions ones, to be fair, are up to date. Yeah, and if you get, we might get a new Legion specific unit book to include.
I could see a Talons red book, to be honest.
I could see Talons going in with the Humans though.
No, I don't.
You've already got 3 different lists in that one.
Well, no, you got
Solar. Colt.
Oh, you got Knights in there as well, yeah.
No, Talons will either get their own book.
So we might see it
might be a small book.
They've got to consolidate the fact that the Telemon and the Osiren now are going to have downloadable rules, so they need to.
One of their answers to demons is going to be then if Book 8 is released or held back a long time, because you're saying to people,
don't use them.
Go on eBay and find 40k demon codex.
I think
so that you can play.
So that you can get free demons that you don't pay the points for.
Yeah.
My heart bleeds for them.
I'm not. It's not going to hurt my game, but it's interesting considering the ethos of releasing this rule book is so that there's something marketable and as a game system, they are missing.
I think demons at the moment is such a small part of the community because of where we are in the Heresy timeline. There are very, very few players playing with demons.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be too worried because it's not. And it's not like they've got a product line that isn't selling because they'll sell demons in 40k and Sigmar. So
experimental rules,
maybe
because you wouldn't need if it's just the unit names. It only needs to be a few pages, doesn't it? If it's just the unit entries,
it's just unit tweaks.
And you can literally take what's in that 40k book.
Or as a stopgap, you'd put a free downloadable version of the 40k codex on there because it's no good for 7th
edition codex.
I imagine as a company of this size, they'll have branding issues with that, and they won't want to still be putting anything out with old messages.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think they're more likely to strip it. Again, give it to a new rules writer and say your first job is to strip this stuff out.
Make a demon
work for Heresy.
The Talons and Demons book, Talons and Demons.
I was just going to suggest,
but then I don't think they'd want to put a red book list out before a black book came out.
I could see it after the demon rules come out. That would be the ideal place to put the demons in. With the
that makes sense.
Yeah, almost a
Webway
Red
War book then, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're really in the depths of
it's good. It's a good chat there.
Theorying there. So
it's quite interesting rumours that might change my hobby plans because my Blood Angels army might well get shelved for a year or so, and I might do something else. Because
Demons was my next step, and that would systematically say well, no, I'm going to step back from demons then and do something else. But yeah, I mean, we've had some other. I mean, I think the other one, it's not strictly heresy related, but definitely has heresy implications. Is we are getting Necromunda.
Awesome. Looks amazing.
We all got in the queue. We got in the queue. They handed out these programs, and I opened the program up halfway. It was like
A5. A5 to A3.
Yeah, it was A3 folded down to A5. So I opened it up. I was like, oh, that's all the new releases. I quickly scanned it and just to see if they dropped something new. And I was like, and I opened it, not really paying attention because you get a poster, and it's usually just a poster.
Yeah.
And I was like, Necromunda's coming back. Fuck, where did that come from? So
we were in the car on the way here. There was 5 of us crammed in the car because of travelling disputes. And a gentleman called Tonka was driving, sound bad, and he's not interested in. He doesn't give you an idea of this guy's mentality. It's a slight deviation, but it's worth it, I promise. He doesn't watch film trailers or game trailers because he doesn't want things to be spoiled. Right? He's really anal about this. Yeah, he practically lives in a cave. Right?
Did he ever fit at that
Right.
poster?
He's driving, and someone went, "Oh, they've released Necromunda," and he fucking swerved. Yeah, honestly, he's gonna have to mop his car up later.
I'm quite glad Stu didn't read anything on the way up because that probably would have happened as I was driving as well.
So with Necromunda, we managed to get in and have a chat with Andy Hall. I had a chat with him about where's it at, and I said, I asked the question, when are we getting it, and he went, think Blood Bowl release schedule. So it's out by the end of the year.
Yeah, we chatted to Greg later, weren't we? And Greg said November. So
November.
I think that will dominate the autumn Christmas.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we've got 40k Codex releases.
Yeah. Blood Bowl.
General's Handbook 2 and new Blood Bowl teams, and then this will be the big.
We're going to get chapter approved for 40k, so that's going to be big for them.
Yes, that as well, December, isn't it? So that's enough, isn't it?
I think from an excitement point of view, you're going to see a lull in heresy. But I think from a reality point of view, everyone's going to get lots of nice little kits that they're missing from their army, like
just keep
pads.
1 week somebody's going to be happy because they've got the Tartarus pads for their army, and then we're not going to get a massive release that the whole community gets excited about. I think it'll keep tonking along, but
I think we'll get a little catch up.
At least with the rule book, we've got somewhere we can point new players to. Not that I think we're going to get an awful lot of new
I would
players
just like them not to release Alpharis, just because I will get bored if there isn't Alpha Legion.
What about a Megron?
If
they release a Megron, that'd be fine.
Yeah, Megron.
Maybe.
But all they got to do is release Dawn and Alpharis as a diorama with
Dawn.
Dawn
lying down and no.
But yeah, Necromunda plastic sculpts, new bases as well. Actually, they're going to do
new
a new
bases
set of bases
included with the kit.
Yeah, so
that's the point. The bases actually are very Zone Mortalis style.
But they're sculpted bases, and they're going to be in the set with them. It's going to be an activation-based game, so you're activating units and models, kind of very Infinity style. So that sounds really cool. And it's going to be
not just based in Necromunda. It's going to be based in.
It's going to be Hive.
It's not going to be the Hive Primus. It's going to be the whole world, a bit like Confrontation was back in the day.
I was talking to Andy Hall a bit about. I didn't play Necromunda. I had my hobby gap then. I kind of got out just as that was released, but I played Confrontation, which was in the White Dwarf. I was really dating myself, but and he said it's. In terms of the complexity, it's more like that. There's going to be more skills tables and things. So it's going to be more complex than Necromunda was back in the 90s.
The big thing for me, the first thing that went in my head, this ties into something else we've heard, is I can see an event in the future where you've got Necromunda battles being fought in the bottom of a hive. You've got your Zone Mortalis missions where the legions are fighting. You've got Battlefront missions, either Centurion or
full-blown warfare.
We know we've got Titanicus coming, so you can have Titanicus, big open battles of that. And
We're
then the third
thing, Tom.
the one thing we heard from Mr. Greg as well, Horus Heresy.
This is a rumour again.
Yeah, this is not confirmed, but Horus Heresy, Battle for Terror, box set game, BFG rules with BFG ships.
That'd be amazing.
So it's going to be the Horus Heresy. He did say eventually that might spread into Xenos Race as well, but it's going to come out as a box set, BFG. And can you see an event where you've got one corner and you've got the orbital warfare going on?
Yeah.
That's narratively playing into the battles and Titans battling in the waste, and you've got Necromunda gangs running around like the humans.
It goes back to when the stores used to be far more influential in campaigns as well.
Yeah.
I remember being in my teens playing a battle in store, and a store in Leicester phoned up and said, no, the Grey Knights have brought the cruiser down, so everything on your battlefield is taking hits. And then suddenly everyone in our store in Peterborough there was literally debris falling, and
Yeah.
that was the narrative
That's
twist of our
really
games,
cool.
and it was like, that's quite cool.
Yeah,
You know?
and we
That's-
can play
Third
that.
War for Armageddon
It might have been,
campaign, I think they
yeah.
did that.
We could do this. We're thinking about when Tarsus is on.
Yeah.
Hasn't Ryan got an event on the
Yeah.
same weekend?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we could be doing this cross
Cross the
events
book.
and stuff.
I mean, the
It'd be really
Global
cool.
Heresy campaign that runs through the year, you know, we could run that through the campaign through the year and have specific, you know, say, right, look, there's a Heresy crew, you know, we're podcasters, we tend to talk a lot. Right, let's set a date in March or a week in March, and we're going to have events
well.
over that week.
Some of us are doers. We're not all talkers.
Yeah, I talk a lot. I don't fucking do anything. You know.
Not a doer.
I
Tom's
haven't
really not a doer.
I haven't fucking knocked my nuts out for 6 months building and prepping Tarsus, so yeah, fuck a lot, yeah. You know, but you can see, you know, and you can have, yeah, you know, it's going to start in Oz, and they are going to have the Battlefleet Gothic event, and that will, when their event resolves, the UK is going to be getting ready to go, and that's going to affect the mainline battles, and then, you know, by the time the mainline battles in the UK are done, the Americans are playing Zone Mortalis or something, and it, you know, the scale of the campaign, and it all influences across each other. You know, I love having the scale of game to be able to go
The
right.
interconnectivity
Yeah,
is going to
yeah,
be great.
You know,
The other thing that Necromunda brings is a wealth of models.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
They've got new plastic models for Necromunda already on display. We've only seen about 4 or 5 models, but I get the impression those are just the ones they wanted to show us,
Oh,
not
yeah.
that is what they've got. You know, did I hear Andy right? I might have heard this wrong. The models in the box set will make 10 gangs, or there will be 10 gangs.
I think he said there will
be 10
There'll be
gangs.
10 gangs. So the
Yeah.
box set will be enough for 2 gangs, and
Yeah,
there'll
you'll
be
have enough to do 2.
So I think it'll be very much like Blood Bowl, where you buy your Necromunda box set through GW, and then you buy your additional gangs through Forgeworld.
I'm just thinking
Blood Bowl.
techno
Makes
barbarian
boosters and
things
your
for
special characters from
Ah,
Forgeworld.
pre-crusade
Hardly,
gaming.
yeah.
Yeah,
They just-
pre-Crusade stuff as well. I mean, the Goliath stuff that's
Yeah.
on preview today looks amazing for it.
Yeah, the compliance
The other
of
thing
town.
is though, but doing like I could see some really interesting stuff going into Cult Militia. And
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
just a wealth of human
yes.
human bodies.
I'm seeing Alpha Legion operatives
Yeah.
in a lot of the
Yeah.
Escher stuff as well,
yeah.
and the Orlac stuff they've got previewed. The
Yeah.
Goliath stuff could quite easily
World
be
Eaters,
be in the Battle for the 500 Worlds with
Yeah.
the with Angron Lorgar's.
Yeah, the Shadow
Shadow
Crusade.
Crusade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
might tempt me to do some more humans again this year.
it's just it's just open. I mean, that's actually been, while it's not a Heresy product, it's been a huge the possible, because I mean the Heresy universe, and especially the way the gamers are, we already look at Centurion and Zone Mortalis and BFG, and we want those influences. You know, Heresy tends to be much more about. We want to play, if we're going to play a massive battle, we want it to feel like a massive battle. And the stuff we hear in the novels where it is, you know, the starships smashing into each other and engage, you know, you've got big set piece engagements and small running battles and things, you know.
Yeah.
So anything we can do to throw more stuff in, you know. I mean, especially if the profiles for Necromunda are going to be very similar profile stats to Heresy, you know, the classic 7th ed stat line. It might not take much to convert to be able to run.
Absolutely.
You know,
No,
you can
exactly.
you can throw your word bearers, a Astartes squad, two word bearers in with your gang, and they're operatives in the underworld, driving the underworld war and stuff. You know, I just think the possibilities for cool narrative events to be able
proper,
to just
proper narrative, not just 2-5.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what we've been limited to. Yeah, we've
No,
got one
yes.
set of rule sets, and this is what we can play. Now we're looking at right where we got, you know, because Shadow Wars Armageddon was great, and there was a lot of work to make that into Heresy, but it never really caught.
You've got everything from
Yeah.
small couple of men skirmish game
Yeah.
up to let's
Map.
kick the crap out of each other with starships.
Yeah, huge fleet engage. You know, Apocalypse, Battlefleet Gothic. You know, 30, 40 ships aside with 6 or 7 commanders. You know,
Great.
I just and that is gonna. You know, you play that on the Saturday morning. You play Battlefleet Gothic through Saturday, and then play.
You could bring in things like the orbital defense system at Calf.
Yeah.
That'd be
Well,
so good.
Greg said to us, you know, there will be defence platforms in the Battle for Terra game. You know,
Stations,
Yeah.
space stations.
It has to be if
platforms,
it's
the
a,
orbital
if it's
planes,
Terra,
things
Terra
like
based
that.
on them.
So good.
So you know, you can have a proper. You know, I mean, even for me, like, wanting to run 3 or 4 events across a year, you have a Battlefleet Gothic event, you have a mainline event, you have a Centurion Zone Mortalis event. You know, you structure the whole
You can
narrative.
use that to drive a narrative, not just in like game effect, as in this has happened here, so we're going to have that effect there, but as the narrative as well. Like it might, let's say it's. I mean, I'm going to pick on. I'm just going to use Calth as an example.
Yeah.
But if you run, let's say you're running a Calth event and you do like Word Bearer's Assault, right?
Yeah.
But then the Battlefleet Gothic games, the opening sequence to that, they lose.
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't then do the assault on Calth, you do almost an alternate timeline where you're going, okay, the
The
Ultramarines
are
are
now
counterattack
back,
and
yeah.
they're driving them back. So where are we next?
You make
is
up
that
a plan
then
in
Zone
the fight-
Mortalis
yeah,
games, or is it? Do you know what I mean? You can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, you play Zone Mortalis then because you're boarding all the ships, and then we play another game that's 2.5K where the word bearers have retreated to a planet in the 500 worlds
Exactly.
and mustered around it, and then we're gonna, the Ultramarines are
Exactly.
counterattacking there, and or the
You get all
Ultramarines.
your Invicti. Are they Invicti? What are the? Oh no, what are your?
Suzerain.
Suzerain.
No, not them. I don't mean the unit. I mean, there's a Armatura. You've
Yeah,
got your
yeah.
veterans on it. What are they
Yeah.
called?
Oh, the training squad that I can never remember the name of.
but there's loads of veterans on there,
Yeah.
and they all get brought in. You could have them brought in as like reinforcements rather than being the victims of an assault.
Yeah.
And you could have so much fun with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But-
You can take. I know when JP they were doing the Age of Darkness alternative history and talking about a point of divergence. Well, you can let your games create that point of diversion by how the first event goes.
Yeah.
Like you said, it changes
Yeah.
that whole storyline. Does Angron ascend? Does Angron ascend sooner because Lorgar's like, shit, I need a demon now?
Yeah.
Or does Angron fail to ascend, and sort of you've got the word bearers still led by normal Angron, and what happens there? It would be amazing.
you
Do
can have a lot of fun
Lorgar
with
and Angron's working relationship break down because he realises he's trying to make him into a demon, and
just gonna be another
Angron
prisoner
kills
for someone
Lorgar.
else, yeah.
You could
Yeah,
go
yeah.
fucking mental with it. It's going to be so good for an event. I mean, for me, for crafting events and stuff, just to be able to go, oh yeah, we can do all that.
Thank God that Heresy gives them the perfect platform for this. So back in the days of the first Space Marine box set, when they went Marine on Marine because they couldn't afford the tooling to get
Yeah.
different armies made,
Well, it was.
and that's why it was Heresy based,
It
wasn't
was Titans.
Titans
It was
first.
the first
Titanicus
Titan
was the
game,
first
yeah.
one. So back from that,
It was
and now
one
it
paragraph,
makes
yeah.
Heresy's huge,
Yeah.
and it gives them the perfect platform to say, well,
We want to bring back
what
BST,
Xenos do we do? We don't need to. Let's do.
because you can literally produce the same sprue 5 times, chuck them in a box.
Yeah,
And
with a few
same as like
Chaos-
Calth and
chaosy conversions,
Yeah.
maybe because it'll be terror time.
well,
so
no,
you
you
might
don't
well
even,
find some.
don't even bother
things.
because you don't have to.
Yeah. This is it.
People do it themselves. You
People
just
do,
say,
yeah.
well, here's a load of ships, and it's just like Calth and Prospero. Well, I could paint them up as 2 separate armies and play the war game, or just do what most people do and
You'll
paint them
get
up for their
half
army.
a dozen
You'll have-
cruisers,
yeah, you'll
3
probably have
grand
some
cruisers,
Maybe a battle bar,
And
2 battle barges.
a battle barge each,
Yeah.
or there's your fleet of
Yeah.
a 2,000 point
You
fleet.
may find one of each, a bit like with the
Yeah.
the Cal set, where you get
Yeah.
the old character that's kind of
Yeah.
a bit
Maybe
designed
2
one
battles,
way, but
two stations
Yeah.
or something.
But even doing on a smaller scale, sorry, we are deviating a little bit, but even doing on a smaller scale, like you're having a Battlefleet Gothic game, and you go, okay, right, I've stuck boarding because it's going to be a bit more complex. I get the feeling. I've stuck boarding torpedoes into that ship. Right, we're going to stop the battle there.
Let's
go.
go.
Let's
ZM
go.
board.
Right now, we're going to ZM
Yeah,
board.
yeah.
And let's fight that.
Yeah, you
What
can-
happens
Yeah.
to those 2
The
ships?
sort of game you
know what I mean?
that sort of
And then that
campaign
can
you
feed
could
back
play
in.
with
Well,
you and your mates in the garage.
Yeah.
You could
well,
really
there's 2
get
people can enjoy what we're talking about on a more of a macro
Yeah,
scale,
exactly,
can't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
but-
maybe afterwards you go and have your standard 6x4
That's
3K game
And
based on the results of your
And you can
combined.
get that. You can get that feeling from
do that on one
being
Saturday.
Signing like Solar Commander right through to minor skirmish on a garage level, and that's perfect.
Yeah, just one day, two blokes in the garage.
Yeah, we're going to have a weekend.
Promises,
2 blokes, 1
promises.
guy,
Oh,
and a lot of 6x4. No, it's awesome. So, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? Like you said, model physically, there's nothing none of us have jumped up and down and screamed about.
Today's been underwhelming,
yeah.
Yeah, but
but not in a bad
Whelming, I
but
think,
not
rather
in,
than
but,
underwhelming.
but not in a bad way.
yeah,
it's-
there's a lot of, we've all come away going, the next year is going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is set up the next year of, there's lots to look forward to. Whereas, no one's come away going, oh my God, there's like a Primal model that we didn't know about. But we've come away going, yeah, but we've got all this stuff coming, and we know we've got a better idea of what the plan is a bit more, or we've at least
we
got an
maybe
idea.
do. We maybe
Yeah.
do. I
We're
mean, if we
reading
hadn't
between the
spoken
lines
to
there,
you, we
between
might
the
not
lines.
have. We might not have known. So you had the right conversations with the right people.
Yeah.
Well,
We
this is what
chatted
we
to
do.
a few people. We didn't. We stopped talking to. We spoke to everyone but the painters. Funnily enough,
Yeah.
because we didn't have anything to ask them, and the Forgeworld, the miniatures
I think
designers.
it's all trickery. You need to talk to people about what they're passionate about, and then they get more.
Well, we spoke to Dominic Odinger a lot about the artwork and
Yeah.
stuff, and he talked about his process. It was really interesting. We spoke to
Yeah.
Andy Hall about about
Yeah.
Necromunda, because for me that's the most exciting news today.
Yeah, one of the things is actually when you're stood at those tables, to get the attention of that person, because they are generally trying to talk to as many people as you can. You've got to catch them, and we want to get round and see the stuff as well. And it's like, how long do you spend stood at that table
Yeah.
waiting for them?
Catch
Well,
them with the
to
right
give you
question.
context, I've had a brief conversation with Tony Cottrell, as in like a couple of lines. I've had a very in-depth conversation with 3 of the sculpting
Yeah.
team. That's pretty much as far as I've got.
Yeah.
I need to go back in there at some point to look
Yeah,
at those stuff, you know?
we're going to grab some lunch, aren't we? And then we're
And
probably
then
going to go
go
and
back
hit the
and do
hall.
all of them.
Hopefully, when it's a little bit quieter again,
Yeah.
and hopefully get those conversations now.
Get those juicy
I'm just going to
tidbits
run in
out
and
of them.
just say when can I pre-order Battlefleet Gothic now? Greg Dan said it's coming.
Well, I think the key question actually is ask as many people as when's the 8th book going to be released, and then compare feedback.
Yeah.
Because that's the most
Because that's going to be telling
interesting
for
thing from all of
everything
it.
else.
In terms of just heresy, 28 mil heresy players.
Yeah.
That's the biggest impact will be when that book's out.
Yeah.
Because if it is delayed, I think
If it is delayed, you know there's going to be a lot of infill.
there's going to be a lot of
catch up.
there's going to be a lot of moaning.
I
An
think
awful lot of moaning.
when you
but,
said
I
earlier about-
understand why. I totally understand why.
But then
I
I'm
personally am in the camp of I'd rather wait and have the quality
Yeah.
because I
Exactly,
know,
yeah.
for example, that in the final days of Inferno being written, it was rushed and it's telling.
Yeah, we know Inferno was way behind. It was kicked. They were having their asses kicked to get it out, and there's so many mistakes and errors in there.
Yeah.
And actually, that's caused more problems than if we'd waited 6 months. Because now we've got army lists with issues that the community's having to deal with. You know, we've got errors and stuff, and we just don't know. Whereas, actually, if we'd have waited, there would have been bitching a moment. We still haven't got Book 7. But if Book 7 had come out well, we'd have forgotten about the delay because we go, oh, Book 7's amazing. Whereas now we're still sitting there going, yeah, well, we've still got a fuck Custodes list, and we've got war gear, names of weapons that don't have weapons profile.
Yeah.
And
Tell me about
actually,
it.
I look at it from an EO's point of view of, I got to make a decision that's going to affect somebody's weekend that they've paid money to come and do, especially a big weekend when somebody's probably paid for a hotel, food, drink, time away. Got their, they might only have a couple of weekends a year. I'm going to make a decision that's going to affect their enjoyment.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to make those decisions. I want a rule book that tells me this is it. So it, for me, Book 7 is a pain because you sit there and think, it's more work I got to do.
It's just frustrating, isn't it? I mean, I see it literally daily in the Space Force group, and I know Dan, for example, who's not here today, sees it daily in the Thousand Suns group, where people are trying to push their point of view for the
It's
interpretation
the
of a
same
rule.
with the Talons list
I'm sure
from
it is.
Custodes.
Or,
It's exactly the same.
or people are saying, no, that's not how I read it. I read it this way, and no matter how you apply your own common sense or what precedents you draw on it,
There's always going to be
it's
different
still
opinions,
ambiguity.
isn't
I mean, most books there's been the odd bit here and there. There's always been one or two questions from it. So you're not saying every book's come out has been perfect up until Book 7. Problem is, it's the amount in Book 7.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the amount. It's simple things
virtually
like
every page has got
Yeah.
something
I mean,
on
the
it.
one I
that
go
you're
back
like,
to
I
is-
think it's something. Sorry, Tom. I think it's something they really need to tighten up on going forward as well. Not just because the ambiguities exist in the community, but I think you touched on this in your last podcast that with 8 now being a different rule set, the draw of people into heresy will be a hurdle that maybe where you could tempt people before, it will now be a harder temptation.
Yeah.
If they're going to come over to it, where 8th edition appears at face value to have tidied up all these problems in having a keyword system.
It's going to
Yeah.
make
If you're then bringing people into an ambiguous system, they're going to lose interest.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
It was a shame there were those errors in there, but
I mean, it is
It's
what it is.
happened.
yeah,
It is what it
it's
is.
happened.
It's happened.
It's some of them
We have
amusing.
to deal with it.
I was disappointed that going in the miniatures hall of the new Heresy display, that on the Prospero board they didn't have any tourists taking pictures in the corner. That would have been a really nice touch.
If it was me, I'd have just modelled some fuckers just to wind
I
people
was
up.
really hoping for an invisible Magnus.
Yeah.
Just a clear resin.
I tell you what, if you give
Just a
me
base with a bit of resin.
if you give me a boost over the top, I can make Magnus invisible. Yeah, so no, I think that's probably from about everything from
Yeah,
the
I think
three.
we've covered everything. If you haven't been to the miniatures whole bit for a while, they've redone the Heresy bit.
Yeah, it's
Well
real
done,
nice
yeah.
stuff.
We didn't bother going last time we were down. I don't think I went the time before. 'Cause
Yeah,
we didn't
I
bother
haven't done the
having a look
last 2 trips I've been
So
up
they have
there,
moved
so-
it around. There's lots of new stuff. So if you haven't been for a year or so, definitely come back and have a look again because it's awesome. And we
It's-
get it
it's
for free
always
today,
worth
so
a
it's
look.
always makes it more
This
worth
is
it.
it. This is one thing I've had a lot of. Sorry, if I may.
of course.
I've heard a lot of gripe from people going, well, it's £12.50 for a ticket, and we don't really see anything new.
It's a
And
museum, they've got
but
to
it costs
upkeep
you. It costs you how much to get in the museum normally?
About
£8.
£8
It's like 6, 7 quid, something. 8
Yeah,
quid,
well,
something
okay.
like that, somewhere around that.
I think it's 8, but let's say it's
Yeah.
6, right? You're doubling that.
7.
You're doubling that price.
25.
You're doubling that price for a ticket to this, and you're getting to speak to the designers, the guys who make
I
the
think it's cheap
scenery.
as chips today.
I think
Oh
it's-
god, yeah,
I
there's,
think it's
there's no
well
argument
worth
about
it.
that.
value for money.
Even if I saw no new models in there, which as a Space Wolf player I essentially haven't, it's
Oh,
There was one.
we got one. Stop crying.
it's not even a final.
I mean, the other good thing.
Yeah,
because-
I think it's very funny. I think it's absolutely
I
superb.
think, well, there's a good test of
use
this.
it
My
for
wife
Clarence.
saw the ticket and she said, oh, it's only £12.50. That's what.
Yeah.
That's a good test of whether it's expensive.
I mean,
or
the
not.
other
My
good
wife
thing
thinks
is
it was cheap.
coming up and, I mean, the other good thing is coming up and see people in the community as well. I mean, Jason and Johnny from the Sons of Heresy are here playing a massive game again. We bumped into Greg. We've seen you, Pete. You know, I've seen Peterborough lads, some of the other Peterborough lads as well. You know.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah,
Chat to
yeah.
Tom
I try
for a bit.
to avoid him. We have to talk. We
Yeah,
have to
can you not
talk
bring him next time?
Yeah.
I didn't. I went great lengths to not bring them, and I ended up with 3 of them in my car.
But it didn't work well enough.
Yeah. So no, it's cool to catch up, and you, like I said, I mean, if you're not somebody who's maybe lucky enough to get to events and go and do stuff, you'll see people, you'll recognise voices, and you'll get to meet people and see people and speak to the Forgeworld team. You know, it's great. So yeah, it's just a good.
I love it because I don't get to go to many events, so I love the Sunday away from the child and the wife. When I get to do it. So this is good. I like this kind of thing. I like hanging out and we're going to go have some nice. Well, we're going to have some food.
You're going to go eat something.
So I don't think I'm going to.
I don't know if it's going to be nice.
That burger looks tempting. I think
Does
we're
it?
going to have to hit it.
It
Might have
looks
to have a
tempting
buffet.
for a hospital visit.
Don't complain about that. This is very off topic. Some poor wife of some gamer complained about the food on the Warhammer community, on the Warhammer World Facebook page.
Yeah.
Nicely, gave the review in her review.
Yeah.
3 star. 3 stars. She said it was quite good, but I only went to the restaurant and the food wasn't very good, and it was a genuine complaint.
Yeah.
She got completely kind of nerd attacked by some.
Why wouldn't you want nachos?
The food's not important because it's a miniature place. She just got absolutely slated for it by this idiot. Luckily, everyone else stood up for her.
Everyone just went, "I'll piss off."
She had
next
bad
year.
service. She's allowed to complain.
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
Anyway, that was really off topic. But,
Cool. Right. I think we're going to go get some food then, and probably a beer or two. And yeah, so take it easy, and then we'll go back into another section.
Right, and just before we go off to a break, we just caught up with Pete again just before we left at the end of the day, and he managed to speak to Tony Cotterill towards the end of the day in the studio display area. Just got a little bit more information on the release dates or potential release dates of Book 8, and a little bit more on BFG and Titanicus, etc. The big news is that Tony's aim date for the release of Book 8 is Christmas 2018, so which is a lot longer than we're used to. I'm sure a lot of the community are expecting a weekend-style release. So that's quite interesting news. So that's Tony's aim is to get it released at Christmas 2018. So that's obviously not this year. That's not the normal spring release. That's almost a year behind what we used to. But I suppose they've never actually announced any official release dates for it. It's just been you get them when you get them, and
It's just been the expected norm.
Yeah,
for the
they've
community
said this is the next book. Well, we're used to it. I know I'd been assuming that early next year we'd see Book 8 because that's the normal time it comes out. So yeah, it might be 2018, but again, this is only we weren't part of the speculation potentially. Tony said this to Pete, so I'm sure it was right what he said at the time he said it. Things change, of course. So I suppose there's a chance with the way things are often late with Forgeworld books, so we might actually see it till
weekend of 2019.
Spring 19, so it might be definitely a whole year later. So that's really interesting. Might change my plans whether I'm going to do Blood Angels next. I might stick another Legion in between, but we'll see how we go.
Does kind of fit in with the sort of read between the lines of they're going to do a year of tidying up, and it almost confirms that.
And we don't know how much of the book, if it was done, or if anything really. We don't know how much that the new writers, so Neil and whoever the new guy they've taken on, how much they're doing and how much is still left to write. What changes they're going to make, what changes there will be with this new rule set, if there's going to be any changes at all. We don't know. There's lots of ifs and buts.
Anything.
So so that's interesting for everyone to hear. As I said, we can't say officially because it's not an official announcement, but it sounds like Book 8 is some way off, so we're going to be playing as is for a while. Other news was I think they said that Battlefleet Gothic is it's going to be a couple of years before we see
a couple
that.
of years.
And they're aiming, I think he said he was aiming to release one specialist game
game per
so
year.
we're looking at November for Necromunda, which has been announced today as we record this. I'm guessing, reading between the lines, then that we might be looking like something like Titanicus for the year after, maybe.
Christmas.
They've not said that. We're guessing if BFG is going to be a year behind, maybe Titanicus will be 2018. Then who knows? There might be something else in between. We might get two things. Some Titanicus might be slightly different. And he also mentioned something about
Titanicus will be led by 30/40k rather than the other way around.
Yeah, so we're talking about a new Titan variant potentially for 30/40k, which would be
whatever that may be.
Yeah, well, we've got. Will they make a model for the Side Titan maybe, or will there be something completely different?
Well, you're looking at Warhound, Reaver, Warlord, variant of the Warlords, the Nemesis,
yeah,
and the Side Titan, or the next one up is Imperator, which, that's a big,
I think the kit might be too big, and who knows? I just think the kit might be too big, but because there's rules in the book for a Side Titan, it would seem that that would be a logical
variation on the Warlord side for the Side Titan makes the most sense.
Completely spitballing about a very tiny little bit of extra information there about potential release dates. So a lot of that was really just confirming some of the rumours we'd heard earlier, and I say confirm loosely. I mean, this has come from Tony Cotterill, so
salt with salt.
So well, it's come from the lead of the Forgeworld team. So you'd say that it was a pretty good place of information. Pete is very reliable as well. So Pete came over to tell us before he went and said, "I've just spoken, and this is the news." Really, really interesting. So I think there's definitely something in it, and it would seem, in hindsight, looking back on that, it seems to make sense now that Book 8 is going to be delayed because of sadly losing Alan in the year, and that knock-on effect is going to continue. So, yeah, we might have this sort of quieter time in Heresy might continue, whether we fill in gaps and see some of the models that are missing from the ranges filled in until the rules come out. So anyway, that's it. We will now go to a break, and then we'll see you guys on the other side. So welcome back after that break. You'll probably notice a slight difference in sound quality. So
you broke the desk.
Yeah, no, I haven't. So we've been trying to get our tech sorted so that we can record Skype calls coming into the desk so that they can still hear us. And we've got the cables. We've got all the gear. We've got no idea. We've been swearing and trying to get it to work for an hour again today. This is the reason why we haven't had Sam on for the Emperor's Path on the last couple of shows. So we've reverted to old school. Tom sitting next to me. We're using a headphone splitter, and we've got one mic, and we're just recording through the laptop, so that we can do this interview with Sam from the Emperor's Path. So without further ado, please welcome Sam from the Emperor's Path YouTube channel. Welcome, Sam. Thanks for putting up with our bullshit and waiting for us for an hour today and letting us cancel on you for 2 sessions in the last few weeks. So thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you for having me.
We've been trying to. I think since we first mentioned it, we've actually seen you more times.
I've seen you in person more than we've actually managed to record. So.
And you live quite a way away, don't you? So for the listeners who haven't seen your YouTube channel, or haven't seen you online, and don't know what you do, give us a bit of a hobby background. So tell us about you as a gamer and what you're up to at the moment.
I run a YouTube channel called Emperor's Path. We're based down in Portsmouth. Good old Portsmouth. I don't know what to say. This is weird. You don't often get put on the spot like this. I've been doing Warhammer and Games Workshop stuff on and off over the years. I've been massively into Space Wolves. I have 8,000 points worth of 40k Wolves sitting now in cupboards, as Heresy has massively taken my life. And now I predominantly do like sit and chat videos and sort of mini bat reps, as Tom said a couple of episodes ago. And I'm super hard for Heresy.
Awesome. Well, you've kind of got to be to come on our show, we think.
We'll let anybody you could thumb it in.
You can start flaccid for Heresy, but you have to come off the show hard for Heresy.
Right, okay, so that's a lot of pressure on us. We got to do our jobs, and
I'm always making
you
men
chief
hard.
fluffer tonight, Tom.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice there, Sam. It's, you're part of the Emperor's Path, so you guys go and check out, I think he's search YouTube for Emperor's Path. That usually takes you straight to it, doesn't it? And you'll find my ugly face on there. We had a little smashing about in the Zone Mortalis game on some sticky floors, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
So, how many videos do you put out? About one a week, isn't it? About a report a week, or is it just one video a week?
I usually do I do a segment called Sit with Sam once a week, which usually goes out on a Sunday, and then I try to do a bat rep every other Friday night.
Yeah.
And then that way you've got something different each week, especially over the school holidays. I don't have as much time to shoot the bat reps as I would like.
Yeah.
But occasionally you'll get a bat rep every Friday. Sorry.
So they're nice, short, sort of compact bat reports, aren't they? I mean, they're not taking anything away from anybody else. You know, you've got your 30k channel, kind of very big, long, big detailed battle reports. Whereas I know when me and you film, it's sort of 40 minutes for our ZM game for the video.
Yeah, I think so. And I think a lot of that is sort of, we did like a little post-game interview as well, and that usually takes up 10 minutes of the video as well. Yeah. I've got such a short attention span that I have to do the short bat reps, because I'm like the dog from Up. It's like squirrel, and then I lose concentration.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I say, I like sitting down when I've got an afternoon to sit down and watch the 30k channel, but I find finding 3 hours sometimes quite hard to do in one session, so I watch them in a couple. Whereas it's quite nice to pop your video on, you can sort of, while I'm blitzing quite, an hour's painting, you can just knock out, a quick video with it as well. So it's a nice, it's definitely nice to have the option to swap between the two.
I quite like the short length too. I often watch a bit of YouTube before I go to bed at night, and I can choose to watch one of the big longer ones in 2 or 3 settings, which I do, or I can generally watch a whole one of your videos, and it's quite nice. So sometimes I watch you just before I go to sleep, Sam, which is always nice.
That's exactly what I like to hear.
So you didn't really get too much into detail about your hobby backgrounds. How when did you start gaming? Did you start gaming as a kid? Is it a more recent thing? So what sort of, how long have you been playing? Has it mainly just been 40k? You played any other systems? Give us a bit more kind of detail into your gaming background.
So I started 40k back in 1999. I went to a car boot sale and saw some of the white plastic beaky marines.
Nice.
I think they were 10 for £1, and I picked them up, and the guy had like loads of the old Citadel comics that were like the really thin ones.
Yeah.
Bought a couple of those for 50p, and I started doing Blood Angels and stuff, got bored really quickly. And it was about the same sort of time that the Imperial Guard Codex came out back in 3rd edition, and then I did that 11-year-old thing of doing every single army that you possibly could, and all of them were of shocking standard.
Absolutely leathered in paint and never finished properly.
Nope, not in any way, shape or form. And then girls got in the way, and then I decided a couple of years ago that I wanted to get back into it, and I came in about the time when I think Dark Vengeance had just dropped, and I'd done sort of on and off stuff over the years that never really lasted, like War of the Ring. But I got into the hobby, and I got into it super hard when I came back into it as an adult, because it's a wonderful thing of living at mummy and daddy's and having a disposable income to be able to purchase things. What's then a horrible thing is then when you and your girlfriend then move out and you realise, I don't have that disposable income as much anymore.
You find it though, don't you?
It's amazing. I'm skint this month, and I've somehow managed to find money for. I was just telling Stu I need to convert up a suzerain with a banner and a thunder hammer. So there's a Mark III command squad and loads of bits and a Cortis dreadnought. And I'm like, no, I'm skint this month. Well, I've managed to buy 2 more bloody models and go. It's amazing how quickly you can find money for it, isn't it?
Yep, sadly. Mine's usually I try and salvage about 25 quid a week on lunch. That 25 quid a week usually goes down to about 3 quid of buying noodles from Lidl's.
Awesome. That's the kind of thing I'd do as well. I like that. That reminds me of my uni days when I used to spend as little as money on food as I possibly could, so I could spend it all on beer. It's different output, but
it's amazing skills you learn, though, isn't it? How to survive on barely £1 a week in food, so you can spend it on booze or man dollies.
Yeah. Yep. Tins of beans there were 9p back in 1997 from the co-op, and 9p loaves of bread. You could easily live off of 5 a week. Anyway, I'm just aging myself like I do many times during this show. So I'm glad you've got your kind of early roots back with sort of Rogue Trader Marines and things, even if you picked them up from a car boot a few years after they were out, you got to experience the kind of what the hobby was like before all of this brilliant 3D CAD stuff we've got. I've just built one of the new Redempted Dreadnoughts, and there's barely a bloody mould line on it. I don't know how they've done it. It's incredible. You clip it off the sprue, clean off where the sprue marks are gone, and it's like searching for mould lines, thinking, wow, this is it's a piece of piss to put together. So we are very, very lucky at the moment. So moving from you sort of getting back into gaming, so what made you start the YouTube channel? What was your inspiration?
It was actually my wife, mainly because I didn't shut the fuck up about playing Warhammer.
Here's a camera talking to that. I'll watch it later.
We've got a podcast for the same reason, really, haven't we?
I think it stemmed from we went on holiday to Gran Canaria, and it was one of those weird holidays. We're usually the city hustle and bustle kind of couples, but we ended up doing a little pool holiday, and I ended up blitzing through over the course of the week, the first 4 or 5 of the Heresy books.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then I came back off holiday, and I was constantly going to her, oh my God, you'll never guess what Loken's done now. It's absolutely absurd. And then she was like, you know what you should do? You should vent all of this stuff and shit that you're telling me to someone who cares. Basically.
To somebody else, yeah. Go and talk to somebody else.
I had a similar thing, but not years ago. I think I was on Corfu, actually, and I went through the initial trilogy. In 2 weeks when I was on the beach mainly, and yeah, my wife doesn't do sci-fi or fantasy. She wouldn't have a clue. So she struggles with period drama. She's doesn't know what time was this, and she hasn't got a clue with it. So I couldn't talk to anyone about it, so I just had to keep it to myself. So at least you were man enough to bore her to death, and she gave you an output or an idea for an output. I think I'd have just been told to fuck off, probably. Well,
that's why I come and sit in the moth dungeon now to record, because my wife has told me to fuck off out the house. She's fed up of me recording upstairs being loud. So
I can't imagine her hearing you elsewhere in the house. Tom, you're not that noisy.
I'm not loud at all. I don't know what you're on about.
I've always known you as the quiet one of the two.
Yeah, no, I think that's the general consensus, isn't it? You're not sitting an extra 20 inches away from the microphone.
No, nothing to do with that. Is it? Nothing at all.
I think one thing that's worth mentioning as well, and I was speaking to Kurt when I came up and played Tom at Incom the other week, that if nobody's seen a picture of the two Geno boys, they always say how if you want to be on radio, you can't look how your voice sounds. Well, you two look exactly how you imagine you to sound, and it's the weirdest thing that your face and your mind can't comprehend.
It was actually a very rare occasion. The two of us were actually stood together by a gaming table, actually, wasn't it? So
yeah, it doesn't happen very often, unfortunately. No, that's an interesting. I don't know how to take that.
No, I know exactly what you mean, because I get people when I go to events say the same thing. I tend to walk in a room and nobody says hello to you, and then you open your mouth and they all go, "I fucking know who this."
Whereas walking away.
Yeah. Whereas obviously with you, Sam, people see you from the front, don't they? So they'll recognise your face first.
Ooh, that's debatable. I have one of those very generic faces. I've been told to the point where I usually get stopped at airport security because I look so suspect. And
really, that wouldn't have been my initial intake from. You look like such a nice young man, Sam. I wouldn't believe it. So do you find you're getting noticed now when you go to when you're at Warhammer World and things? Do you find people coming up to you and saying hello?
Well, Jody and myself from the XLC popped up to Warhammer World a couple of months ago. I mean, it might have been the fact that I was wearing a fucking Emperor's Path t-shirt, but a couple of people came up and said, "Oh, I really like your stuff," and all that sort of stuff, which is really cool. But I don't know, I find that in Portsmouth we've got a really good heresy scene, but it tends to be in its own little bubble. So I'm trying to branch out over the next sort of 12 months or so, but we just sort of we've got such a good scene, you almost don't leave Portsmouth. And I mean, I'll be honest, if I didn't work away as much as I did, I probably wouldn't get to play people like yourself or get to meet up with people as much.
Yeah, you kind of got well, we can't have a game now because I'm not free, but you're back in Cheltenham, aren't you? Well, near Cheltenham in a couple of weeks' time, and we were trying to get a game in it. I suppose that does give you the opportunity that if you're going to be staying in a hotel room anyway, you might as well take the extra bag with your models in and try and get some games in clubs around the country. Drop a few business cards off to clubs you've not been in. Check my YouTube channel out, do a bit of networking, and away you go.
It's not something I've managed to be able to do just yet, but I think with the right coaxing and stuff, or management from my wife, I'll soon enough be able to sort of just stroll in. I'm currently trying to book a game up in Perth for the week commencing the 18th of September. So if anybody knows dudes looking for dudes in Perth, and that's Scotland, not Western Australia.
Yeah, I was going to say that's.
I know which one I'd rather go to, but yeah, probably not for work for an overnighter. But yeah, so if anyone would like to meet up with Sam in Perth for a game, he's sometimes bearded, so it depends what you're into. But he just sometimes shave it off. So if you prefer it smooth, have a word with him beforehand, and and if you don't look at YouTube and stuff, and you still want to get in touch with him, you can always get in touch with him via us. We'll pass your details along. But just remember, if you're trying to find people to game with Sam, just remember the do you know who I am line. Have you seen? Because surely you've seen me on YouTube.
See, I try that every now and again. People go, "No, I haven't got a fucking clue who you are, mate." Oh, fucking hell, yeah. I don't know. They probably recognise me and don't want to admit to it.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. I mean, I'm kind of one of these don't shut the fuck up as soon as I open my mouth kind of people. So it's probably for the best.
No, well, I enjoy your videos. I think this is genuine now. It sounds like a bit blowing smoke up your arse, but I quite like just when I'm painting and things sometimes just to have someone talking, and you come across very well. You're very comfortable talking into the camera. I'd be awful at it. I'd be absolutely awful. I'm bad enough at this, and no one can see me when I'm doing it, and I get to edit it. But no, you're very comfortable, and it's you've got your proper kind of TV style of looking into the camera and making it seem professional. So you do a good job of it, and it's very watchable. So yeah, it's all good. So what are your plans for the future for Empress Path then? So you've grown quite a lot, I think, in the last couple of months, and I think from watching myself and looking at your number of subscribers and likes and views and things going up. So what are your plans for the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very, very... I mean, it's been going for nearly 2 years, and the first year we had a couple of people, but nothing really big, and then sort of at Christmas time, it all just sort of blew up out of nowhere, and it's been non-stop busy, and I put that down to the fact that I've started putting a lot of heresy stuff on the channel now instead of... I mean, and that just speaks volumes as to what people seem to like at the moment. Yeah. But... well, I mean, Tom and I spoke about this before and about how there's a lot of heresy podcasts out there, but there's not actually... I mean, you've got Brains and the 30k channel, but there's not a lot of heresy-only stuff out there. So I think my main plan is to... I haven't played 8th properly, and I'm not too fussed about it. And I think... And this is spitballing more than anything. I think I'm going to move into a 30k heresy-only channel and do a lot of the smaller stuff, because it's what I enjoy. And if you enjoy it, you are... I believe that you're better at talking about it and getting other people excited about it. There's no point me sitting talking about 8th edition when I'm not particularly excited about it at the moment.
No, yeah, exactly. There's absolutely no point.
Yeah, it'd be like
you're not making money out. This isn't a job, is it? This is an extension of your hobby, isn't it? This is another way of expressing your hobby. So yeah, absolutely. It's about you, isn't it? Really, the channel is about you. It's not like a host of hosts. It's not like a group of hosts putting out different angles. This is mainly from you. And if people don't like what you're into, then they'll watch something else. Sorry, you were going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, it's like if we try to sit down on the podcast and talk about 8th Ed or Infinity or something that neither of us are particularly bothered about, it wouldn't come across with the same kind of
pizzazz.
Pizzazz and passion and enjoyment, So you've got to stick to what you're enjoying. And I know when we talked, Sam, and I think when you came up, we had another game. You were saying, heresy is what you want to do, so it's what you're enjoying. So yeah, just go for it. Like I said, I mean, you've got the 30k channel, which is dedicated. You've got outside. I don't think there's any 30k YouTube channels. I know WW40k guys in Australia. They do a lot, but they're not. They will say as well they're not dedicated, because I think they do bolt action and they do a bit of 40k as well.
Yeah, I think I don't think there is. Is there any other dedicated? There's Geeks Wargame do a lot of 30k, but there's still some 40k
They still do
in there.
40k. I can't think of anybody other than 30k channel that is purely dedicated. Whereas,
or if they are, they're not big enough to come up in normal searches at the moment.
Yeah.
They'll be right at the bottom somewhere. So,
but you know, the Horus Heresy podcasts are 2 a penny at the moment.
well, because you're doing a mix of news as well as news and chat and hobby as well as battle reports, and if that's all Horus Heresy based, then you probably are the only person doing that on the internet, as far as I know. So that'll be a really good space to sit in, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose the only other people are the Forgotten Legion, aren't they? But they're a different ball game.
It's a different thing. I think it's a different. When you're putting out what is a webcast.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's basically a podcast with an audio format, but using YouTube to.
Yeah, we have to look at Pretty's bloody face on that, so and the De La Rosa brothers. So, yeah, no, it's good. I'm just flicking through your channel now, Sam. I can't talk.
He's not. It's porn.
Well, I got the porn on one channel, and I'm now
unless you're on Pornhub.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot of Horus Heresy on Pornhub.
It's usually Emperor's Children stuff, obviously.
Yeah. Watch this giant 6-foot man impale this woman with his claw.
Fabius Bile's horsecock creation takes on 6 girls at once.
Exactly. What's that thing JP sent? You probably missed that in this chat. Some meme about when your friends attack you with snakes. And
I've turned into a bit of a Michael, haven't I? I just disappeared from the chat.
You vanished because you're the only one in that chat who's actually knocking out progress and working, whereas the rest of us sit around and just talk shit.
I just got too busy recently, and I've not been. No one knows what we're talking about. We're talking about a podcast, a bloody Facebook Messenger chat.
There's the secret Horus Heresy podcast club in there.
Yeah, I used to spend far too much time in it, and the last few weeks I've just barely been in it. Where I used to kind of hang around in it far too much, but I'll get back in there. Yeah. But so, have you got anything you want to plug, or anything you've got new coming up at the moment that you want to get people to draw people's attention to?
I've got 2 competitions running at the moment, actually. So that's a little bit of a good segue for me. I mean, as I said, this year's a really good year for me in terms of growth, and I'm approaching 1,000 subscribers at the moment. So I'm doing a competition on YouTube. You can enter on our Facebook page, Instagram and stuff like that. But basically it's going to be a big prize draw, and you can enter in multiple platforms, and I'll put them all into one big bag. And you can win a £20 Forgeworld voucher, some of the old school Munitorum dice, the old Lasgun packs. Emperor's Path t-shirt. Oh Christ, I can't remember. A custom paint station by the XLC. I'm looking around the room now, trying to remember what I've actually put in there.
I do remember watching the video thinking, fuck, fair play, there's a fair chunk of stuff coming out of that.
Sounds pretty good.
It's all about buying people's love. I found that's the best way to do it.
Oh, that's all we do.
I've done a little bit of a different spin as well with this one, where you can make and design your own theme tune for the Emperor's Path channel. And that basically gets you an extra entry into the competition as well. So it's something a little bit different for people to try. There's some... I know Dave from Spacemen with Guns podcast has done a fucking cracking rap. Which what I'll do is when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to put all of the theme tune entries in there. And I'll put Dave's in there as well. And yeah, it was good. Like, I was genuinely surprised.
I'm excited.
I'm trying to get my head round at the moment. I've not met him in person, but chatted to him a bit and listening
to bloody northerner rapping.
To him on his podcast. I'm thinking that voice and him rapping. It's not connecting at the moment. So I'm sure that'll make me enjoy it even more. You won't get that from me, funnily enough. I'm sure you could have guessed that before.
That's okay, I understand. This is the problem. Like you've got a podcast. You don't want to start a music career as well, because otherwise you then have to decide whether to drop the painting or the podcast. And I don't think you should drop either of those just yet.
That's really, I'm a little bit worried about the groupies. I get enough of them now, and the wife might get a little bit insecure. I'll put down the guitar.
We've also got another competition with the XLC. I know in your last episode you mentioned mentioned about the Station 111 stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And we actually had a chat about it when we were all stood at Incom, and it legally we have to call it Station 111, and it's a tabletop. It's a modular terrain set where you get a mat and lots of walls and doors and stuff like that, and you can basically
not Zone Mortalis. Definitely not Zone Mortalis.
But a potential customer, an independent person like me, can come along and say, "Oh, I'd use that for Zone Mortalis."
Oh, you know what? That would be a fantastic use for it, especially if you play a lot of Horus Heresy, where there's a lot of Zone Mortalis around.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're doing a competition, and Jodie and Chris from the XSO basically turned around and said they don't care what platform it's from. They want guys to paint something, or girls, to paint something and send it in to us. And if they believe that it would fit inside Station 111 in any particular aspect, we're going to sit down, judge our favourite, and whoever wins gets a whole kit for free.
Which is awesome. I think since we talked about it on the show, they've added a lot more levels, because they've added the level without a mat now and things as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
I don't think that was part of the original Kickstarter. And we haven't spoken about this on the show. Now, when does it end? When does the Kickstarter end?
Now you're asking me.
So I'm furiously searching Kickstarter for it.
Yeah, it's hard to find, isn't it?
No, it's just Kickstarter being Kickstarter and being.
If you Google it, you always seem to come up with their last year's one.
19 days to go as we're recording on the 9th.
That's okay, because this show as we're recording this is the 9th, but this episode's not going to go up till the evening of the 12th or 13th. So I just want to make sure that we're talking about this and it's not already ended, but absolutely, so that people can still get on this. Then plenty of time to still get on this and pledge.
So you got a £50 pledge, which is your entry level, which gets you 20 walls, 2 bulkheads, 1 gate, and 10 barriers.
Yeah, so that wouldn't do you a 4x4, but if you could still play a bit of Zone Mortalis. We'll get that with that, because if you look at the Zone Mortalis rules, they're not all based on the layout that you can get from the Forgeworld kit. You can have a table which is quite open with just an area of Zone Mortalis on. Yeah. So if you haven't got, if you can't afford the full whack, even those £50 sets, you could turn one third of your table maybe into a.
Then it goes up to 85 quid, which gets you 35 walls, 3 bulkheads, 2 gates, 10 barriers, which, to be honest, that probably would do a 4x4 just about. Yeah. 145 gets you 65 walls, 5 bulkheads, 4 security gates, 20 barriers,
so that's
no mat.
That's the full set with no mat.
No mat.
And you can see from the picture that's a very heavily walled Zone Mortalis. That's
going to be more than enough.
You could do a 6x4 out of that if you weren't going to use the mat, I think. And this isn't, they're not saying they've got too much stuff there. That's a good thing.
That's going to give you plenty of flexibility.
I think the standard set from Forgeworld, at least 2 foot, two squared tiles are just blank, aren't they? They're completely plain, so you can have an open area. Whereas if you go onto this the Kickstarter, you'll see that it's full.
To be fair, if you only for a 5 or more, you get the mat with it.
Yeah.
So that's not bad to go up to a full mat, and that is a complete ZM. And then there's a couple of bundles then for going up to 2 or 5 sets. So if you're looking for a game club, you want 2, maybe 5 sets. There are some bundle deals there. So. Yeah, it all looks really good on there. So definitely. I know, Sam, we've kind of let the XLC hijack your interview, but
you've got some interviews with them on your channel, haven't you? So they can go back to your channel to find out what this is all about and see some pictures of the stuff.
Yeah, of course. And one thing that the boys have said at the XLC is that even if you purchase the kit. And also enter the competition. If you win the competition, they'll give you a full refund, no questions asked as well. So if you're worried about it,
you're not going to end up with two sets and sort of sitting there going, "Oh shit, I've only really got one." So no, that's good. That's good of them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good. You're involved with them and can help them out with the pushing this. But they funded anyway, haven't they? They funded.
They funded in like a day. Yeah. So they're at three and a bit grand now with their 1,500 quid goal. So. They're over double funded now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I will say, this is again hijacking your interview about XLC, but I found that googling the XLC doesn't always get you where you need to go. As Tom's going to try and find, you actually need to Google the Extraordinary Laser. Is it Extraordinary?
No, if you Google the XLC, they're the first hits, Joe. Fuck knows what you've been googling.
Well, the XLC.
The XLC literally takes you to the first hit, and there's a link to
I've been finding other things. Anyway, maybe
that's your Google search history. It just takes you down weird paths. It just knows what you're looking for.
That is weird. That is really weird. I've been struggling to find it. But anyway, so yeah, I think we've absolutely horrendously ended towards the end of this little chat then. So you got those two competitions. Did you say on the first one what they had to do to enter other than the music thing? I can't remember if you did.
It's one of those. It's been so long. It's been in the making now. If you go onto the Facebook page, the Emperor's Path Facebook page, there's a pinned post which gives you all the instructions. I think it's like, share, and comment. If you go over to Instagram, it's at Emperors_Path, and it's like, tag a friend in the comments, and you have to follow them. So that's 2 separate entries. And then if you go on the YouTube channel, go to the video for the competition, and just comment down below. And that's 3 separate ways of getting an entry in, and they all stack. And then obviously if you do the theme tune as well, if you write the theme tune, sing the theme tune, you little bit of British humour there for anybody who doesn't live in England.
Outside of the UK, no, got a fucking clue what I'm on about. But just go and watch Minder.
And yeah, if you do the theme tune as well, you get an extra entry. And yeah, as I say, we've had some cracking entries on the theme tune front, and we've had some and they'll happily admit this, so I'm not slagging anybody off, but they've happily admitted that they're doing it just so they get the entry. And like, I was looking after my mum's dog when I listened to one of them, and she howled when one of them started singing. Which I'll let you decide which one was which when it comes up on the announcement video.
These people may regret their entries when they actually realise that you've got that audio.
No, that's right. You might well find I enter, and then I'm going to be putting everybody to shame.
That's awesome. Right then, so you're back in Cheltenham in a few weeks' time. I will. Are you having a game with Kurt now? After I stood you up in advance of time.
Yes, I've booked a game in. Kurt and I are going to play 2.5. Custard 2.5. Now we're going to play 2.5 K's worth of custard tarts versus. I'm tempted to bring the Alpha Legion back out again, but Kurt was throwing down some smack talk at the Incom night about the Wolves versus the Custodes. I'm intrigued to see how that will go down.
Yeah, I think you might do better with their match of the Wolves.
Yeah,
I think you're going to struggle anyway, but I think you might need Russ.
Yeah,
I think you might, because I think he'll have Valdor, I imagine. Well, I won't get to play you, but at least some models I've painted will be on the table against you.
Yeah, I should be about that night.
I'm going to try and get down later on, come and say hi again. But it's just I couldn't. Yeah, my wife coming home late. I didn't want to stand you up if you've driven all the way from Swindon, from a hotel in Swindon somewhere, and then say I couldn't make it. So I'll look forward to catching up with you then.
Indeed.
So, have you got anything else you want to shout out before we let you go to your evening and your very, very tolerant other half who actually doesn't want you back to talk to about your hobbies? She probably prefers you to be talking to us. But have you got anything else you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Well, she currently actually doesn't believe you guys exist after the amount of times that you've stood me up. But,
you're just sitting in the laundry talking to yourself.
Maybe we don't. Maybe you are.
Yeah. I keep walking up to people. They're like, "Oh, have you heard of the Geno 52?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, maybe they are in my head." No, only thing I can sort of say is that if you're ever in the Portsmouth area or even Hampshire, because I'm willing to travel.
I was in Hampshire last month. I went to Peppa Pig World. I didn't bother messaging you. I thought probably not going to be up for Peppa Pig World with a 2-year-old and my wife and my father-in-law. Anyway, sorry.
It always looks really weird as well, as I don't have kids. So like me walking into Peppa Pig World and
I like the way he says always. This is a regular occurrence.
So last time we walked into Peppa Pig
I'm only allowed
World,
in a maximum of once a year at the moment.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
They couldn't get them stains out of Peppa last time.
George Pig has never looked the same.
You should have seen my son's face when he realised, because they got these are bloody adults wearing massive Peppa Pig things. He watches it on telly. It's a little kid, little baby pig, and Peppa's 6'4". He's like,
oh shit!
Anyway,
Daddy, get the gun. I want some bacon.
We're still both talking over you again. So if anyone's down in Hampshire or Peppa Pig World or Portsmouth, they can carry on.
Yeah, get in contact with us. We run a games night every other Monday night, and as I say, we've got a fairly big following of Heresy players, and we've got a really good 8th edition scene. I mean, I don't play it, so I don't necessarily follow it, but the guys are good guys. And if you fancy a game, message me on Emperor's Path, and I'll happily book something in with either myself or one of my Mournival boys.
Where have you stolen that from?
Same place everybody steals everything from.
Yeah, true. Very true. Right, Sam, thank you very much for being very patient with us over the last 6 weeks.
It's fine.
And we'll get you back on to test when we do actually get the sound working properly. We won't put that bit out, but we'll get you on to test. You can have a chat with us when we get our tech working. But thanks very much for coming on, and we will definitely stay in touch with you and continue to share out what you're doing through our podcast and on our web stuff as well. So
Excellent.
Thanks very much.
Boys.
Take care, and we'll be speaking to you soon.
No problem. Sam. Take care. Cheers, lads. Bye.
Bye.
Hello and welcome back to the bullshit and bad hobby advice section. So today we're going to be talking about a bit of an odd topic, really. This is not really a kind of a techniques thing for our usual hot topic, but we were talking on Messenger the other day. I've been chatting to a couple of people, and we're talking about paint schemes and things that GW have said they've used this paint and that paint, and I kind of like trying to call bullshit on it, really. And it's not in a bad way, but it's a kind of, is it reliable? So it was
the big one, I think. The one that really told was the Power Fist for the new Telemon Dreadnought.
Yeah.
There was a picture of it, and the paint scheme and the techniques given when somebody asked how do they paint it, given by GW.
And it wasn't the paint. We're kind of talking about the detail of it before we're talking about it, but our GWs, mainly GW, but our paint schemes given out by painters, mainly GW, are they true to what they're actually used, or the techniques they've actually used? So what's in the White Dwarf, what's given out on the website, etc. Does that match the paints the painters are actually used? And then we're talking a little bit as well about painters keeping paint schemes and techniques secrets, and what is right to keep as a secret and what should be shared to help people grow and learn as well. And there's that kind of tight balance. We'll touch on that a little bit, but that's potentially a little divisive, and that's not what we intend.
It's a conversation we both had.
Point.
Yeah, it's a conversation we had, and it's. I think there are going to be lots of different opinions on it, but I'm
not sure I have a fully finalised opinion on it either.
Yeah, because interestingly, I come from a photography background, and I come from a background, an arts industry background of protecting intellectual property.
Yes.
So there's a big thing in photography of you post your pictures online, they get taken and used by other people. So one of the things I do very regularly on Facebook groups, a lot of the heresy Facebook groups, if it's they change the group picture and they'll use a picture from it. Now, if the artist isn't credited, I know, I think Andy Wardle's stuff went out once.
Yeah.
And I said, this is Andy Wardle's stuff. You need to credit him.
Yeah. So you nearly jumped on something the other day for me, and I But it was the guy who
the guy's commission,
my client. Yeah.
The guy's commission was just sharing pictures, and I almost, it was only a brief split second of, the fuck, that's Stu's. And then I read the post and went, he's actually has credited.
It's his model. He owns it.
Yeah, he owns it, and he had commission. He clearly said it was commission, but. I come from a background of a place where defending your intellectual property online is very, very hard thing to do, because your images get dispersed into the world and they're just then taken and spread. So there's and also from a world where, I'm one of the reasons I don't work in photography now is the amount of people who approach me to do work for them, and I said, okay, that's no problem. Here's my day rate, and they went, well, I can't really afford to pay you. It'd be good for your exposure. And I used to turn around and say, well, can you ring up my gas? Can you
creative industries, isn't it?
Can you ring up my fucking landlord and tell him I'm going to pay him in exposure this month? No, I've got a fucking job to pay. I studied for 5 or 6 years in photography. I put thousands of pounds into a degree.
Yeah.
Pay me for my skills. And the worst one, I ran into somebody and he went, well, it can't be that hard. I'll do it. I said, well, you go and fucking do it then. Go and fucking do it, as far as I'm concerned. If you want me to do it, you've come to me because you think I'm good at this. So there's value to what I'm doing. So there's an interesting topic. So there's a limit of... So, Stu, me and you talk about our paint schemes all the time and what we're doing and stuff. We share all that completely openly. And I think both of us are fairly happy to share that online as well.
Yeah.
But actually, like, we were talking about your Iron Warriors and you went, oh yeah, I used this one, and this one, and this one. I did that. That's your talent. To pick those colours up and apply them, as well as the technique. There is a talent to your technique,
Yeah.
But your talent is picking colours, and one of the things you're much better at than me is going that colour, and use that colour for a shading. You're very, very good at picking colours. You've got a good grasp of colour theory.
Yeah.
That's your skill. So when somebody says to you, "What paints did you use?" Are you giving away your skill for free?
Maybe.
Because people are paying you to paint their models. One, because you're good at painting technically, but two, you put colours together. Because you could paint a model with all the best techniques in the world, but if you put the wrong colours together, it'll look fucking shit.
Yeah.
So you can see why sometimes you hold on to your paint scheme.
Totally see that side of the argument. I mean, we've gone right into the topic. Really,
I think we're going to pile into it now.
I was going to talk about the GW stuff first, but we'll do this bit first. Then we'll talk.
Let's
about
pile
the
into
paint.
IP
We'll
first.
do the painting secrets. But I agree with you to a certain extent. I personally don't mind giving away any paint schemes, not at all. I think that yes, there's a certain amount of colour theory in it. I do agree. I think the best person I hear talking about, and I've not spoken to a lot of painters about colour theory, but the most notable person that you hear talking about colour theory is Miles, and the way he explains it is awesome.
I listen. I'm on his Patreon and
he's
watching
very
the
open.
videos.
And I don't know whether I'm not on the Patreon. I haven't got time to be on it, to be honest with you. But
I'm fucking struggling to keep up with his hour-long videos. They're amazing.
I may well have to soon.
They are honest to God. I mean, I'm on the $15, and I did a bit. The videos are fucking brilliant, and it's not the thing with Mars. If you want to specifically learn how to, you want somebody to go, you pick up this paint and use this paint and then use this paint. He's not going to give you that so much. He does. He's very open with, I use this paint and I use this paint. But where he excels is he's saying, right, I use this and then I modulate it with this, and I use this tone and that tone, and I'm putting that tone into this to create that effect. I'm using these tones to cool, and it's very colour theory based, and you learn a lot about that painting, And Mars, I think, would say, he can't keep that secret because that's colour technique. That's what you learn when you do an art degree.
This is what I was coming on to.
I've kind of jumped over it. Yeah,
we turn it into a Miles advert, which is great because we go out and support him, but. The point I was coming across, trying to say was that he seems to do it very well.
Yeah.
Colour theory's out there. You can go and learn it. You can very quickly go and print off some guides and get a bit of an idea.
You got your printed out colour wheel on the wall there.
I have it stuck up there. I think there's a colour wheel in the next. Is it in the White Dwarf?
There's colour theory in the White Dwarf.
I'd
look at that. Chip wouldn't let me rip the 6 pages of colour theory out of his brand new White Dwarf that I wanted.
Again, awesome stuff from GW. They're talking about it now, and I think it's something that I'm always going to share my paint schemes. I'm never going to think it's a trade for me. I'm not knocking anyone that does it, but if it's a matter of how did you get that beautiful colour there? Well, I mix this product that's made by someone else with this product that's made by someone else. For me, that's not really a super trade secret. So I personally I don't mind any painters out there who want to keep the secrets. I totally respect that as well. So this isn't a kind of a respect
bashing,
or not thing. This is more of a kind of an open.
This is our opinions on what we think. Because I'll be perfectly honest. I'm playing devil's advocate because I fall right in your camp. I tell everybody anything that I'm doing. I've absolutely no problems. But I'm looking at it from the other point of view. Like I say, someone like Mars. Why do you pay Mars? Because Mars is brilliant. He's a fantastic painter. Same as why do they come to you for commission? Because they want you to paint the model.
Yeah.
And that's not just what I'm saying.
For me, more of it is technique than the choosing of the colour. Yes, I take your point about the choosing of the colour is important.
Yeah.
For me, it's more about where you put that colour and what you do with it.
So I'll go back to the photography example for that because I slightly disagree with you there. There's a real thing in photography. There's a very, very technical side to photography. There's very, very technical stuff with cameras and very, very technical, especially with things like Photoshop and producing an image.
Yeah.
That you can get super technical to produce, quote unquote, the perfect image because it's perfect because the levels are exactly right and the exposure's perfectly within the curve and the color balance is perfect and everything's perfect. But if I just took a picture of a fucking wall, I can make that the perfect photo, but it's fucking boring. But lady I do a lot of work with, if you're interested in art photography, go and check out a lady called Christiane Drake. She's a fucking nightmare. I love her to pieces. She's brilliant. And she is an artist through and through. Yeah. And the reason I started working with Christiane is she is an amazing photographer, but she is terrible with the technical side of it. She couldn't edit pictures, couldn't use Photoshop, couldn't do any of that stuff. But what she got, and what I can see in a lot of photographers, is the eye. How to frame a picture, and how to compose a picture, and how to lay things out in an image to create what you're trying to create.
The old school way before computers came around, so people just taking photographs.
And that is the thing you can't teach.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot teach. And I used to teach photography to kids on the remand system, so people in youth offenders, so kids from in their early teens up to 18, 19 who were either in jail, been in jail, going to jail. I used to teach them photography.
Yeah.
And it was much more apparent there because there were kids that could frame a photograph. None of these kids could use a camera. Their idea of a camera was a mobile phone. We gave him a film SLR camera and let him go on full manual. It was fucking madness. It was amazing. But you could find the ones who could frame a picture.
Yeah.
And you could find the ones who they couldn't frame a picture. And you can't teach somebody to frame a picture. That artistic vision.
Yeah.
Like, you could teach me. I could teach anybody to airbrush.
Yeah.
Teach anybody I could teach my wife how to physically use an airbrush and create it. But where to put the colours and where to add the contrast and what colour to put into that and what colour to put into that and where to place it. Miniature painting is all about creating contrast. And sometimes you go away from realism to create a more interesting image. And that is the skill and the talent.
Yeah. Again, it's still a lot of it is the placement rather than the choosing. But I agree with you.
But it's like those things all roll into each other. So the best photographers I ever known are good with the technical side, and good with the artistic side, and that combo together works. And I think that's what makes a great painter is the ability to go right. Technically, this is how I hold my brush and I load the paint and I paint it.
Yeah.
And the other side is how I put the colour into it. Yeah. So giving away I said, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and say, you're giving away 50% of your talent there by giving it away.
Yeah, I know what you're
but
saying.
I also agree with the fact that everybody, I personally want everybody to learn and get on. And actually, I'm not worried about people replicating my paint scheme because I can tell you all the paints, but you can't put it down the same way I do.
Yeah, there's a difference of just. I also think, and it's not just about paint schemes either. We're in a hobby where we're doing all kinds of things. We're building things. We're using products that aren't designed for painting in our paint schemes, whether we're using floor polishes and stuff like that, and
oil paints that were never designed for miniature painting.
And there's, and again, some people will share everything. Other people will say, well, I use a combination of something or other, or I'm not going to go into how I did it. There's a saying you often see with music, don't you? There's nothing truly original. Nothing could be truly original. It's been done before. And I do.
There are only so many notes because there are so many orders.
That's the other reason I'm quite happy to share, because I think, well, someone's probably used this combination before. And you think you know loads about a certain thing, and then you look at another field. So we do a lot of military modelling stuff, and the way we talk about sharing, have you used this new product from MiG or this from that? And then if military modellers heard us talking, they'd be pissing themselves because we're idiots, we're like preschool level of knowledge on these things, and they've known it for years, and they've been doing it for years, and these products have been out, and these techniques have been out for a long time. So that's another reason why I'm happy to share, because I feel like the people have already done it before, and the true skill for me in painting, and I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about the true skill in painters. And you're right, it's about the eye and knowing where to put the colour, but it's with what connects with their brain, their eye, and their hand to actually make that happen and come out on their canvas, which is their model. For me, that's where it really is, and the top painters will always be the top painters because they will have the skill to do that alongside what colours they choose.
So moving on to then the really sticky subject. If somebody asks you, and you are sponsored by a brand of paint,
yes,
you have a scale 75 endorsement, but as we all know, not all paint. I mean, we were just talking before we started recording. We were looking at your Blood Angels test model, the scale colour stuff.
But it wasn't for my Blood Angels coming up. It's for the thing we did for the task. This is the minimum standard thing.
But you used the scale 75 very super matte scale colour to the fantasy
range. I was just showing you that it was a bit smoother. It wasn't quite as matte.
But what I was saying is, use different. You do need to go to different paint ranges to do different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I swear. You know, I still swear by the GW washes. I think the GW acrylic washes are some of the best out there because out of the pot they just bloody work. They're great. You know, rather than pissing about thinning down.
The only thing that's not as good is that Devlin Mud used to be better than Agro.
But other than that, But you know, so I swear by them. I love my scale 75 metallics. I love my black and white scale 75. I'm not so fussed on some of the leather and wood colours. I find them a bit.
Awesome.
Yeah, I find some of my GW ones are a little bit better in places. But so I use a full range.
What's best for you, or
Yeah,
styling.
yeah. So, but if you're sponsored by a brand of paint,
Yeah.
and somebody asks you how you did it,
Yeah.
knowing full well that you've used a mixture of paints, but you should tell them that it's all from there. Should you stick with your corporate sponsorship?
Well, I think the question is, can you?
Can you? Yeah.
And what we're getting at is I'm not calling out any painters here.
No.
I think the problem is GW, because I don't follow enough other painters in the detail to find out people that use just one brand. I'm pretty sure I don't follow his painting that much. Angel Giraldes,
He's sponsored by Vallejo,
so I imagine he only uses Vallejo, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, we don't know enough to know if he doesn't.
So I'm not saying he does, but as the only other person I can think of who might be inclined to believe, only mention a certain range, because most other painters that I follow and are aware of seem to use a wide range. What I'm talking about, again, is not GW painters or Forgeworld painters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the answers you get in the White Dwarf,
Yeah.
or from their web team when you ask the question, how was this painted?
Yeah.
I don't believe that
So
you should take too much notice of the answer sometimes, because I think that I think they must be lies. So there's no way that the Forgeworld guys are using just Forgeworld and GW paints at the moment.
Well, Forgeworld didn't have a paint range for a long, long time.
No.
Forgeworld was no Forgeworld.
Well,
and the big thing
by proxy it becomes the GW, the Citadel range.
I will make a comment here that it's not opinion, it's fact. When I got into painting again, one of the first things, I started reading the Heresy books almost as soon as I got back in the hobby. My wife bought me the Abaddon and Loken diorama. I'd literally painted like 10 Space Marines by this point. So I wanted to know how to paint the Lunar Wolves.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the Sons of Heresy. Sons of Heresy? Sons of Horus.
You can paint all three of them if you want.
I'm going to take some gold body paint to Johnny in gold body paint, naked.
Well,
he looked like the fucking Oscar statue. So I went on the Forgeworld website and downloaded the mixture, and there were all kinds of paints on there, all different brands of paints listed on there. I think there was an Auto Colours paint on there for Night Lords for a long time. That was very clearly, you can use some of our paints and use the others. And now what I know were Mr. Kane's.
I'm surprised
schemes.
they did that even back then.
Well, we're talking 5 or 6 years ago.
It's still the height of Mr. Kirby's era, wasn't it? In terms of GW, and let's not forget Forgeworld are just a department.
But I think this was before Heresy really kicked off, and they were probably
a separate company legally.
Yeah, but they were a bit more of a forgotten about department at that point. So you're talking 3 years before Calth came out. So. Interesting. I went back.
For anyone that works at Forgeworld, I'm calling you just a department. You're a lot more than that. But in terms of what you can get away with and how much pressure GW can put on you, I'm assuming that GW does have the final say.
But if you go online now, or if you email Forgeworld and ask for those schemes,
completely different scheme.
Because the big one is the Alpha Legion one. So it was always Tamir Clear, Tamir Clear Green, Tamir Clear Blue, and now if you go on there, it's the Forgeworld Clears. Now. Absolutely fine that they have their clear paints and they want to promote theirs, but the models they are telling you about, the stuff that is on their website, is not painted with that scheme.
No.
Now, I will say I've not used the Forgeworld clears to see how they work in comparison to the Demirs. Does it give you the same result? Is it fraudulent? Not fraudulent.
No,
is it wrong to say?
No, I think it's fine. I think I've not got a problem with it as such. It's more about how valid is it. What's the point in asking? That's the thing.
Are you going to get these paints, put them together, and go, well, that looks nothing fucking like it was supposed to be?
If the question is using GW paints, how would you best achieve something similar to this? Then they're giving you the right answer. But I feel
they're asking how was that model painted.
I totally understand. And if I was in charge, I would have them doing exactly what they're doing. There's no point in advertising.
Well,
we've both
been through corporate jobs. Yeah. You've got to toe the corporate line.
I've not got a problem with it as such. I'm not asking for a solution to this. This isn't a
rant. But it's
rant.
just an interesting talking point.
I've just seen it come up a few times, and especially now with the web team, and you'll find someone who's in charge of the answering the Facebook questions, and you think, well, that's and painting a bit, and I wouldn't profess to be able to pick all the colours, but you look at some of the paint schemes and you think that's not
quite
how
often
you've done that.
The big one is the finish, as we talked. A lot of them are the more matter finish than the GW and Forgeworld paints.
Well,
produce.
there's a big change now. There's quite a big change, I think, in style at Forgeworld. I'm sorry guys if you're not Spanish and you are listening, but I think that we've got a team of quite a few Spanish pages. You've got Borgia, you've got Giuseppe. There's a guy who's done some of the metallics on some of the stuff that Borgia's finished, because if you follow their Instagram, they say he did the metallic on this and I did the skin. That was some of the Hobbit new trolls. So there's a clear mix there, and you look at them and you think some of the tones and things they're getting from, and you think, well, I've never seen those kind of finishes and tones with
getting them out of a GW.
I don't want to guess on what they've used, but
now we could be completely wrong, and
we'd
we'd love to be proved wrong, because it'd be nice to go and pick up those GW paints and achieve what they've achieved.
In the countless stories over the years of they've got all kinds of paints, the painters are using all kinds of stuff, I just don't think, I don't know what's the point in
Yeah, it's a corporate thing, isn't it? I think it's towing the corporate line, but I guess it really comes down to your position. Are you told to tow a corporate line? I think anybody outside of the corporate line would have no reason to not say what they're using entirely. It would come to the corporate line of, well, we don't want to promote a competitor's product.
Yeah, I totally understand it. I think if you really want to know how something's been done, are you actually going to get an answer? Because you're probably not getting the answer.
It's probably the frustration of
you're not getting the answer from the painter. You're getting that's the other thing. You're getting the answer from a stock kind of what's the closest match. If you actually get to speak to the painter offline, so to speak, in bunny ears, then you may well get a bit more truth, or who knows? They'll be down to them. It's difficult for them to say, but I'm pretty sure that in both studios in maybe not so much in Citadel these days, but they used to be. And I'm not talking about Forgeworld, I'm talking about Games Workshop here, but there used to be stories 10, 15 years ago of painters there that would say, there's all kinds of stuff there. All the different brands, and the painters bring what they want in.
But that's the thing, isn't it? If you're hired as a painter, you're hired on the way you produce your models. Yeah. If you're an outside of that corporate structure, you're going to use whatever you use. You get hired to do it, and suddenly going, all right, well, I want you to paint like you did, but without the stuff you've done. It's be like, like a good, bringing a musician and saying, we really, really like the way you play in your style and your equipment, so we're going to hire you and play with a completely different set of equipment and different instruments that produce a different feel. Well, I can't replicate what you've employed me for because I need my tools to replicate that. So, with painters, one of the things, like I said, me and you are big fans of Scale 75 because of the matte look it gives all our stuff. That's very different to a lot of people.
Yeah, for some things. I don't necessarily choose it for the matte look. I do like the matte finish, but for some things it's not right, definitely. It's more for the range and the way it behaves.
Maybe a better example is both of us use very similar techniques, but we definitely have a different style of finish to our models. Our models look... You could put... Even if if both of us painted a Blood Angels Marine, you could tell whose is whose,
Yeah, definitely.
The way we do things. So... We've got a style, and if you hired us to do that style, we would want our tools to achieve that style. I know people say paint is paint. Well, paint isn't paint. Paint is subtly different between brands,
Massively different.
Yeah.
Even the same brand. I've got a, what's the name of it? The Avalanche Sunset. I bought the Air version.
Yeah.
And the standard version covers beautifully.
Yeah.
Too thick, but covers beautifully. Really, really high in pigment. I don't know what they've done to the Air version.
Yeah.
It's a bitch. I wouldn't buy it again.
Yeah.
I bought it because I thought, well, I'll give it a go.
Save a bit of time.
For the airbrush. It looks exactly the same colour. Let's see how it goes. It's too thick to brush on, but its consistency is awful. It doesn't cover, whereas the other one was brilliant at covering, and I can't remember what its predecessor was, but that was brilliant at covering as well. Before they renamed the brand, they do it every few years, don't they?
Change the names on everything.
But yeah, it was so it can vary within the same ranges as well. But yeah, it's a bit of an odd conversation because we've not really got anywhere with it, and we weren't ever trying to.
No,
it's just a kind of a discussion point of two things really. Should painters keep secrets? And yes, they probably should, but I don't, and I don't. For me, it doesn't feel natural to keep secrets, especially certain things. I can understand maybe someone. For me, it's, as I said, a recap. It's about technique.
Yeah,
it's not about
I think
individual colour choice, especially if it's kind of what colour did you use there, and you've not mixed anything. It's just a colour out the pot. Then I feel I should be sharing it. I'm not sure about everyone else.
No, and I mean it's something. I mean, like I said, it's not something we were going to answer. It's not our traditional sort of, well, here's a subject and here's a load of techniques. It was something we wanted to chat about. So we'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think? I mean, we are not by any means the be all and end all of it. What do you guys think? What's your have you been given information by a painter and you suddenly thought this isn't right, or do you think that it's right that painters hold back their skills and their talents for that? So we'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know. Drop us an email.
We talked about it, haven't mentioned this.
Should
GW and Forgeworld make their painters say, what, you work for us?
You've got we
want. I know you use a wide range of paints. That's fine when you're at home. But while you're working and painting our stuff, you need to use our products where we have a product for it. It's different if they haven't got a product.
If we don't do something entirely. But then
they don't make their own floor polish, so they're not going to use that. But we have a product. You have to use our products because we want to tell our customers that when they ask what colour...
Can they? Well, not even... It's like, I mean, one of the things in Duncan's videos, his painting videos, he clearly is using the product. And that's great because you know that you can watch that video, do his things, and produce the models he is producing. That is.
I don't think you've got so much. To be honest with you, thinking about this a bit more, I think there's probably less of it now coming out of the heavy metal team than there was maybe a decade ago.
Yeah, the heavy metal team is definitely on the Citadel brand.
I think they are more. I get the impression they are. Can't say 100%.
Forgeworld might still have a bit of artistic license.
I know years and years ago through friends and people that people that were there that there was all kinds of paints, and there's no surprise.
But the Citadel line wasn't what it was then as well. The Citadel line of paints now is huge.
Well, there was a time that the old Citadel used to match the basic Vallejo. So your basic Game Air was the Citadel range from a few years ago, and they've expanded. So that's another reason why they might not need to. So it might be more of a Forgeworld thing because of the way they paint. Who knows? But I just look at some of the.
I know for a fact that fucking Citadel range is massive because I hunked it in and out the fucking shop the other day. It's on like 3 or 4 fucking racks now. So we'd love to hear what you think, guys. I think we've probably run aground on that. Unless there's anything else you want to mention, Stu?
No. It's supposed to be a shorter question poser for people.
We'd love to. It'd be great if we could carry this into another session. With your feedback, we'd love to hear from you. So, let us know what you feel. It would be a great topic point. I mean, we're going to do something a little bit more straightforward next week. I'm going to give you a lecture on still life photography. We're going to talk about photographing miniatures. So
we're going to have a naked person in the studio.
I'm naked every time we record.
Another naked person.
So hopefully let us know what you think, guys. You might just think, oh, fuck off, you idiots. That's complete nonsense. But this is the sort of crap me and Stu talk about behind the scenes. We get on these kind of philosophical
That was 2 hours of Facebook Messenger during the day when we're both supposed to be busy.
When we're both supposed to be working, and we're philosophically debating the moral contemptitude of painters. So, let us know, guys. We'll roll out for another little break, and we'll be back with our wrap-up.
Lord Marshal Great, sir. Legion reinforcements now visible on the left flank.
About time. The wolves, I see.
No, sir. Ultramarines, sir.
But they're wearing grey, Proclamator Fennec.
Fox message said new recruits, sir. No time to paint armour.
At least the Raven Guard are in black armour.
Sorry, sir. That's more Ultramarines.
For Emperor's sake, fox them and find out why.
Also new armour, sir. Their eye lenses are red, and the bolt guns are silver. 3 colours minimum, sir.
What the? Get on the Vox now and tell them to contact Miniature Realm Studio.
Miniature Realm Studio, sir?
Yes, Fennec. Miniature Realm Studio offers a commission painting service, competitive rates, and a range of painting standards to suit most budgets and requirements.
Yes, sir. I suppose they do say that fully painted is for closers.
What does that even mean, Fennec?
I don't know, sir.
Miniature Realm Studio can be found on Facebook, on Twitter at Miniature Realms, on Instagram at Miniature Realm Studio, or just drop Stuart an email at miniaturerealmstudio@gmail.com.
Welcome back then, everybody. The sound is back. So we're thanks for putting up with the. Well, I'm not going to say bad sound. It was the old school sound. it was as our Skype. You know, the compression through Skype is crap. You know, so we're back on our nice sexy desk, and
we don't know what the sound was like for the open day section yet because we haven't recorded it yet.
Well, we all know the CarCast is brilliant, so because we did it last time. I'm hoping this time it'll be slightly better because I won't be doing 80 miles an hour down the outside lane on the M42 with it. But
we will be stationary. We won't be driving. Otherwise, some people will be driving in the wrong direction. It's not going to work very well.
So we're going to just come back, do our usual wrap up, guys. So we've got a couple of events to shout out and a couple of things to shout out. So do you want to take the first one then, Stu?
Yes, yeah. So I was contacted by Dave the Spartan on Instagram, and him and his friend are setting up. And let me find his friend's name while I'm loading this up because I will feel bad because he made a point of saying hi as well, and it would be a bit rude to ignore him. But they're doing a mini swap. And the idea is I think you paint up a mini and send it. You get paired with something randomly and get it sent over. So let me see if I can find it. No, I can't.
Good radio feeling.
Really,
good padding.
Awesome.
Pad.
Tom, would you like to sing for a moment? Oh, he's going to go for a donut.
Fucking eat a donut.
So what do we need to do to fill the time? You're going to hear the lovely sounds of Tom eating a donut. His name is...
Oh, I'm looking forward to Mr. Kimmel's care package.
Yes,
that's good. We got to do something for that.
Yes, we will. We'll send. I've already spoke to you about this a little bit. We'll send 2 packages their way. We'll send one to Ryan, and he can share it with. God, this is a good close down. I can't speak.
Ryan, Michael, Derek, and Scott.
Yes, Scott was the name. So Mr. Switzer, he can share it with Scott, and then we'll send a package to Michael, and he can share.
I don't know how well cheese and faggots are going to travel across the border.
I don't think you can send faggots because faggots means something completely different over there.
I might just send them the box to completely confuse the crap out of them when they get Mr. Brains' faggots.
I've been sent a box of faggots.
Oh, got some in the freezer actually. I managed to sneak them in the shopping list for last time.
The message thread is completely gone. Only my message. So whether this person has deleted their Instagram account, but I think his name's Paul. Anyway, Dave the Spartan and Paul, possibly. Sorry, Paul, are setting up this this initiative. So I'll just read what he said. Hi guys, details for the mini swap. The idea is to spread our art around the community and give everyone involved a little bump. Everyone is randomly matched into pairs. Each pair will have a month to paint up any basic Warhammer infantry miniature. I don't know if that means just 40k or 30k or just.
I think it's Sigma, anything GW.
Yeah, that's quite cool. This could be something to match your army, something to fit in your partner's army, or anything that takes your fancy. Fancy.
Ooh, hello, Stu. What are you after?
I'll be thinking about endless children, haven't I? That's the problem.
Ooh, here comes the claw.
Does a 8-inch dildo fit on a 40mm base, or would you need a 60? Probably 60. I don't know.
Do you know what? I'm actually sitting here trying to picture it in my mind. And do you know what? All I've got. You know those videos, those kids that flip the water bottles and they land up. Right? Have you seen the one where they've got the dildos that have got like the suction cup at the end?
Yes.
And there's just a guy going around. He's just flicking it, and it's like sticking to the window, and it goes. And you think he goes up to one of these big gym windows and just fucking hurls his black cock at the window. And then the next thing you see is this black willy just going.
Tom's doing the actions with his arms. It makes it so much better.
To be fair, it should be.
So, we don't know what base it will fit on. I'm holding a red Redemptor base here.
If anybody knows what size base you need for it.
That's a good name for it as well, isn't it?
You'll need redemption after you've seen my dildo.
Anyway, where was I? The word fancy. At the end of the month, you and your partner simply exchange details and post your model to each other. Because of posting this package, we'll be keeping it to UK residents only to keep it fair for all involved. I suppose if people want, I don't know, I'm not an organiser here, but if 2 people from the US wanted to be involved, I'm sure that could be done or something.
Yeah.
We'll be announcing the pairs at the end of September and running the swap from beginning to the end of October. So you drop a message to @Dave_Spartan40k on Instagram. For information or to register, and there's a hashtag #InstaMiniSwap. When it gets a little bit closer to time, we'll put something up in the in our Facebook page and stuff as well.
Yeah, we'll probably post it on
and
Instagram
we'll share it on
well,
Instagram.
yeah.
It looks like it's mainly Instagram focused, but if it's something you fancy do, if you've got the time to paint another miniature, we haven't got time to paint any.
No,
because
fucking Dave Gordon's already lumped us with a bloody model each to paint as well. Bloody Dave from the Spaceman with guns.
How to get my army painted for a big game in
December. Oh, and I'll tell you what, I'll ship out the central figures to somebody else. So, yeah, you get a message from Dave going, will you paint a model of my command squad? And it's like, well, I can't really say no without sounding like an asshole, can I, Dave? So, no, he sent me you. George has got one. Max has got one. Phil's got one. We're all going to paint him up a member of his command squad. So
he sent me one with power armor. I told him it was going to be a naked legionary with a towel spiral ready to whip, dropping the soap.
He won't let
from
me
the Roman baths.
He won't let me sculpt willies onto it. I've got. Do you know how long I've spent at the desk practicing sculpting green stuff willies? I've spent hours talking to Jack from Anvils O'Connor about it.
What size base do they fit on top?
Well, I've been modelling off myself, so 25 mil, you can get about 8 of them on there. So yeah, go check out Dave.
Yeah, sorry, Dave, we completely ruined that shout out by turning it into something really, really filthy. But yeah, instant mini swap sounds like a bit of fun. I think it's launching end of September, so there's a bit of time before you're first hearing this. Go
and get yourself registered.
Look out for an Instagram and get involved.
Yeah, and answers on a postcard to what size base you need for an 8-inch black rubber dildo. So single-ended though, that one.
Single-ended. Doesn't need a base otherwise, does it?
Yeah, you can't Matt. I don't know.
Flying base? Oh dear, we spent too much time together, I think.
Right, next up on the list, as we mentioned earlier with Sam, you got the XLC's Kickstarter for Station 111.
Yeah, congrats for funding again, guys.
Fully funded. Go and check it out. It's a really good way to get a nice ZM. I do love ZMs in spaceships, but it is nice to see ZMs taken out of that and going, different things.
To be honest with you, it's very, very. They look like corrugated walls, but you could add stuff to that, and it would look like a spaceship if you wanted to.
I mean, the other thing you could do, you could look at it for a Centurion game as well. You know, breaking it up and using it for Centurion, so that'd be quite fun. So
and ZM's not all in spaceships, is it?
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
That's what I like. You know,
Forgeworld do a particular thing that's based on a spaceship.
But it's not because they run it like a Magos. They've got Magos biologist slabs and stuff like that. So
it could be a
bunker and things. So
use your imagination. If you read the Zone Mortalis rules and all the rules, especially the ones in Heresy, it doesn't feel like it's spaceship void combat only. It could be anywhere.
The first. The rules in Book 1 are for Zone Mortalis, and it is described about fighting through the catacombs of Isfahan 3.
Yep.
It's close quarters fighting. It's the Blood in the Void expansion in Book 3,
which kind of makes you default,
which gives you the specific rules for fighting in a spaceship, which is where you get the Cold Void rule and stuff like that. So it's not just spaceships, but I think a lot of people's minds jump to spaceships straight away.
Jump to Battle of Foul kind of stuff. Yeah. So next bit is global campaign. I think we might have not shouted this out the last month again because we're a bit crap with this. Sometimes.
No, we did because I remember fucking struggling to pronounce Chris's stupid sec.
It was the month before. I probably apologised last month.
Yeah, we missed the one before, but
so this one is Hestia. And it's the SDI podcast, Sean from the Siege Industry podcast. So it's their month.
Yeah.
It's Hestia and it's ZM focused, so 1,250 points. Yeah. And that's about all I know, to be honest with you. Yeah. There's a lot of fluff on the page on the.
Sean's done an amazing job with the fluff, but
I haven't read it.
The general gist is this is the planet below the anchorage now. This is.
Right.
This is the planet around which the anchorage you fought over last time. So the narrative continues on from that last battle. So definitely go and check Oz 30K. Go and check the Second Gallic War Facebook group and check out that stuff. So next up, following on, is still the STI podcast because he's still there giving his disease. I've got a UTI, but not an STI at the moment. So Sean's event. He did tell me the name. It was the other day, was it? Heresy in the Heartland. Heresy in the Heartland. So 3 rounds, 2.5k, 14 players, some Zone Mortalis action, 24th of September. So that's actually the Sunday at Tarsus as well. So yeah.
Is Ryan doing something that weekend?
I think there's going to be a massive weekend of Heresy, isn't there? It's going to be a big old weekend of Heresy. So if you're in the Omaha region, go check out Sparta Games. 20 pounds quid. It's not £20 quid over there. It's $20 dollary dues. Not dollary dues, just fucking dollars, isn't it? So go and spend your $20 at Spartan Games. Get your lists into Siege Initiative Podcast at gmail.com. Yeah, go and support Sean and give him a good time. I know he's putting a lot of effort, a lot of time and effort into it, and it'll be a fucking wicked.
I imagine some of those Zone Mortalis games will be uploaded into the.
No, it's the end of it after his month, isn't it?
Is it
September, end of September?
Oh god, yeah, I'm jumping a month. It's because we're recording now. I'm thinking a month ahead for some reason.
You've got
Time
me
loops.
recording shows all over the fucking place now. I just sit here and talk into a microphone. I've no idea when this stuff's
Aren't you
going
about
on.
8 beers in on this one podcast?
Well, no, because it's the third attempt to record. Since we've recorded the intro to this show, I've managed to pick up a urinary tract infection. It's fucking wicked.
Well, that's it. It was the sex dungeon, I suppose, and it's the moth dungeon now.
Yeah, and now it's the piss dungeon because I can't stop weeing. So, right, what are we on next then? Night raffle time.
Yeah. I think not going to go into too much detail.
Are they out of the box yet?
No. No. I have an allotted time for them.
Yeah.
Basically, I think I mentioned it earlier in the show. I've
September time, isn't it?
The end of this month. It's the week starting the 28th. At the moment, I'm not planning on any work that week. It's an overspill week for work.
Mm-hmm.
I moved some stuff around. I'm planning on taking a week off work to do that, so that will be my work for the week. It might not happen that way if I haven't finished my commissions. It will happen. They will have to come first because their deadline for those is shorter. It will be done. Those nights will be done and back to them ready for the event.
To be fair, I'm always shocked.
It might be early September, but at the moment, the end of this month, I plan to knock them all out in a week.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at what you churn out in a short period of time. The amount of stuff you get done.
Well, I reckon I can do those 7 nights quicker than the 4 Blood Bowl teams I've got to paint now. Just because of the type of painting.
Yeah, you can get so much more done quicker.
With the airbrushing.
I performed hip surgery today on the Warhound, so it had a bit of a weak hip joint where it was pinned with a paper clip. So I've now reinforced that with some epoxy and a 3mm brass rod in it, just because it's where the majority of the load goes through, because it's the forward leg as it's striding, so the weight comes through that hip. So I've reinforced that hip to just.
I think when we talked about at the beginning of the show,
I was shitting myself on doing it.
You hadn't done it. So listeners have heard you not showing how to fix it to get to 3 hours later in the show when you've done it.
I fucking fixed it. So breaking the illusion of professionalism here, aren't I? But so I was thinking that I'm looking at like how I'm going to do that, and I'm starting to build up a method, and I'm breaking it down in my head that actually, because you look at it, you think, fuck. When are we going to go? But I'm looking at that compared to my Secretarii.
Yeah.
And I look at the fiddly detail, and that's the time consuming.
Doesn't scare me. I love doing tanks and things.
It's big, and I mean, my plan is I've got a couple of plans here. I'm going to run some stuff by you later, Stu, and just say this is what I'm thinking. But I'm actually looking at it like thinking, should be relatively quick to do. There should be some detail. The details will take time, and the usual things will take time, like transfers and weather.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff
think
like
you're nearly done, don't you?
Yeah,
it's those little bits that take ages. But
so night raffle. Go and check out the night raffle event.
Links in the show notes. Yeah. Links on our Facebook page pinned at the top. Without reading, there's no point in me reading the URLs out. The list of prizes is immense. It's 3 full night houses. That's 7 nights each. One painted by me from my studio, one painted by Freddie, one painted by Jodie from the Van Carrion Heresy. There's the Warhound painted by Tom. There's and other prizes. I always keep forgetting them.
Yeah, there's fuckloads.
There's some other really good prizes as well. The entrance tickets are $35 each. Each amount of $35 will get you an entry. I won't go any more.
Just give you a quick update. We need to get a kick on because it's 89% of donations now.
Yeah, that's not moved up from the last few podcasts I've heard when they're giving the shout out.
So we need to get that going. So 17. I mean, let's face it. That's at $7,835 this year. That's a fucking amazing amount of money. But
the goal is 10.
The goal is 10 grand, and we're going to do it this time. So let's get out there. Go and get your tickets. If you're umming and ahhing about it, don't fucking um and ah about it. Go and drop. Even if you don't want a ticket for the raffle, you can't stretch that. Go and put $5 in. Just go and chuck a bit of money in the pot, because it's not all about winning. The nights are an incentive to donate, but it's actually the incentive is looking after young lads who are fighting a horrible disease, and and it's something that's close to us. I mean, you watch Freddie the Swede go around and everything he's done. I mean, at the moment he seems to be in Vegas having the time of his life, but fucking hell, Freddie, save some of the Americans for us. But the man puts a fuckload of time and effort into the heresy, and he was the original heresy first edition believer. So go and throw him some money for that. So like I said, none of the money comes to any of us. The Warhound I'm painting has been donated by Alistair from Legion of Lies. All the knights have been bought and purchased between, I think, Freddie and Jody, and a load of the podcasters donated the knights in and stuff as well. You know, Stu, you're giving up a week's work to paint it. I'm butchering a fucking Warhound. I'm pushing myself to paint the biggest thing I've ever painted. You know, and that is going to, it's time out of my hobby schedule, which is not, no sacrifice financially, but it's time and effort. Everybody's putting what they can give in.
Yeah.
So go if you can go and throw $5 in, go and throw $5 in. If you can go and throw $105 in and get yourself 3 tickets, that's fucking wicked. Go and do that.
Absolutely. I haven't donated yet. I will donate once. I'm going to donate under the amount. I don't want to win anything, so I'm going to donate.
Yeah, I've got my.
They might get $34.99, something like that.
Yeah, I've got my hobby budget planned out for the next few months just to get things done, because I'm on. There's things like spending for Tarsis to make sure I've got stuff done for that. My plan is in October that'll be my donation. Like you, I'll probably donate $34.90. Because I don't want to win it.
I don't want to win a Titan you've painted.
I don't want to win a fucking Night Owl Sod you've painted. I can make you do my stuff for free.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that wasn't built. We can't even talk about that either, because that was something else that's changed from the intro tonight.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Let's not spoil it anymore.
So while we're on the charity note, then go and check out the MKA Australia raffle for a fully painted Stormbird. Now, this could be a limited edition model now, because
it will be the last time that the three of them get together on a project, probably at least under the MKA title.
Yeah,
anyway.
for now at least, for indefinitely. Go and get yourself an MKA painted Stormbird in the Legion colour of your choice, and again, it's almost not about the price. Go and support Soldier On, looking after vets and stuff. So go and do that.
And then what have we got next? So we got First Blood. So that's Greg's one run at Element Games. That one, isn't it?
I think
not to be confused with the Blood and Glory events, which he's doing some heresy things for.
I think there's 3 things that need explained. I think Greg was talking about this one of his later shows. There is First Blood at Element Games, which is a narrative 2,500 point event. 3,000 point event, which is going to be running Greg style.
That's the 1st and 2nd of September.
Yeah. There is Blood and Glory, the Bad Dice Convention, at which Greg will be running a 30k narrative event there.
Yeah.
And there is a 30k tournament at Element Games that has been run by Ben Greaves.
I think it's Ben Greaves, yeah.
And I think there's some confusion between what ones Greg's involved in or not.
Yeah.
Greg is the narrative at Element and the narrative at Blood and Glory.
Yeah.
And Ben is running the 30k tournament at Elements. So go and check out those. I think there's still some tickets left for Blood and Glory. Fucking hell. Yeah, there's definitely tickets left for Blood and Glory.
Because they've booked it with so many numbers, I think they don't think they can sell out.
Go again. I know Alistair from Legion of Lies is coming up to Blood and Glory. I'm going to be up there as well.
I'm gutted. I'd love to, but I already booked my weekend pass for the autumn.
Yeah.
For Ruination, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. But we'll plan out for next year, knowing if it's going to be there again next year. It'll definitely
I might have to save a weekend for that one, because that'll be really cool.
Well.
I like the mixed event type of things. I like the idea of catching up with people from different systems you might have known in the past. So that's quite cool.
Don't forget to check out the global campaign. Really, we're in the usual social media places: Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, Twitter. Come and join us there. Search for Geno52, you'll find us there. We're all over the place. And anything else, Stu, before we roll off?
No. It's just probably the way we've recorded this show. It feels like a fucking mess at the moment. I've already edited half of it and put it together, and that's fine. But now we're because we're all out of sync time-wise. I'm hoping when people listen to it in one go that there won't be too many kind of confusing bits where we've forgotten that we've said something. So if we talked about things twice in different segments, we apologise for that.
We're trying to squeeze everything. We're trying to make sure, like I said, we're trying to squeeze in around real life and squeeze in around the events. Like I said, we want to make sure we get to it. So next show, we'll hopefully be back for a fairly normal show.
It'll be more of a normal show,
and that'll be towards the end of August.
Yeah, it'll be end of August. But I think sometime last few days of August, first few days of September.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a Tarsis mega-sode coming up.
20 should be Tarsus, shouldn't it?
It will be Tarsus. We won't squeeze another one before
that,
all the work we've got to do to get painting-wise, to get Tarsus ready. And that might be a big one, guys. We've been trying to keep the shows to about 3 hours, so we think that is our probably optimum length, and we enjoy that. It works well, and they seem to naturally fall in there. I don't know how long this one will be, but I don't imagine it'll be any more than 4. But Tarsus will probably be a bit of a chunk.
But it
so
should
if
be
you
good
are
fun.
one of those people that doesn't like too much free stuff, then I do really extensive show notes with timestamps. So just have a look at them.
We'll try and break up Tarsus as well with the timestamps for who's on and what's on as well. So
it won't follow the normal the normal format for the Tarsus one. It'll be a bit of a. It'll be a lot of on-site recording and get people
very similar. If you were listening at the start, sort of towards the start of the shows when we did our Tarsus event sort of this time last year, and it was kind of a bit free for all, and there was lots of chatting and sitting around and grabbing people between events. It's going to be a very similar style, but 19 should be a fairly normal show. We got some
probably lots of us talking about last-minute Tarsus prep and panic and
and shitting ourselves generally about getting everything ready, and so. Hopefully, guys, take it easy. Have a good summer. Have a good few weeks. And,
not if you're in the UK. If the UK awesome started about 4 weeks ago, and it looks like that was it.
So take it easy, guys, and we'll leave you with some music.